My neck hurts. Stings.
Maybe you should try to not.
Dude, I don't know what happened, okay?
Cigars on yourself.
It like pivoted and then it like spun, sat here on my shoulder like a fucking parrot for like 2 seconds, long enough to burn me. Ashed all over my shoulder. I don't know. I kind of wish I'd recorded it so I go back and at least see what happened.
Once it started falling, it was like in slow motion.
Yeah.
Nice.
But we're here. Jack Oliver's back. This is THP number 194.
Ooh, closing in on 200.
That's right. Start planning. This episode is brought to you by BlackBoxCages.com. Check them out on Facebook, Instagram. If you end up getting yourself a cage or a rack or both, which you should, and you go to checkout and it says enter discount code, you go on your keyboard, you're going to hit T as in Thomas, H as in hemorrhoid, N as in network, THN. Save yourself a little bit of money. Get yourself something nice. You will not regret it. Best enclosures on the market. Fastest lead times. What else? I mean, what else is there to not entice you?
I mean, if nothing else, any enclosure option you can imagine, they got you.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, just about as far as add-ons. Obviously, for massive enclosures. I mean, they have pretty big enclosures.
They do have big enclosures.
The biggest one they have is like, what, 7-8 foot? I thought they had
in terms of like traditional lengthwise, I think, I think they have an 8-footer. And then they have that big, I don't know the exact dimensions of it, but it's on like 6 to 8 casters. It's a big stand-up cabinet type deal. It's really
it's
cool.
like a 6x6, I think. Or 5x5.
6x6x3, maybe. I forget.
Yeah, it's a big freaking cage.
It's really cool. I don't have anything that I would
put
in it, except for maybe the Jansen Eye. That would be an absolute pimp mansion for the Jansen Eye if I put them in that.
Awesome.
Would be sweet. Either way, blackboxcages.com. Use code THN at checkout. Steve Snaketuary and his Venom Hot Sauce. He's been with us for years. If you haven't gotten it yet, what are you waiting on? Collect the whole set. You won't regret it. They're all delicious. Cottonmouth sauce is the house favorite here at THN.
That's right.
The one we recommend the most. And then if you're getting those hot sauces, you're helping Steve, who does a lot of public education, rehabilitation. He takes in animals like unwanted pets and stuff, gets them on the mend if they're in bad shape, and then gets them in better situations, or just holds on to them and uses them for his public outreach. So check that out, stevesnaketuary.com. And then fulviusapparel.com. Right now, free shipping if you're in the U.S. Use the code SENDIT at checkout. I got some new stuff that I'm planning to add to the website here shortly. I got Alterna hats back in stock. Just haven't updated inventory on the website yet. And probably going to do like a giveaway soon. Get the word out a little more. So free shipping in the U.S. now until the end of the month. So there's another week or so of that. So take advantage of it.
I need to give me one of those. Canebrake shirts.
Man,
yeah, those I haven't. Yeah,
I
need to add those to the site still. That's one of like the earliest. That was originally like a THN design that I did for like the network, and then decided to take the artist's work and copyright it for Fulvius. I'm the artist.
Sure, man. I'm the artist.
Yeah. So again, Jack Oliver's back. It's been a minute. We've done some herping. If anyone's listened to the show the past couple weeks, we were in Athens with Jack with some of the other guys. Things have been sort of shifting up there in your gang.
Yeah, man. I haven't really gotten rid of anything. What I'm getting is different than what I had planned to get before. So
you're adding new.
Yeah. So
You're getting the turtle. You're turning into Turtle Man.
Yep, I like turtles, man. Like the kid said,
I
that's
like
me.
turtles.
I like turtles. Yeah, man. I've been getting a ton of turtles. I started with turtles. I had a snake first, but most of what I had growing up was turtles. That was when I went herping to go find when I was a kid was turtles. So just felt right coming back to them now. They're expensive though. I couldn't really keep turtles like I do now in college. So they're
What's
Like
the
the turtles themselves are expensive, or like
no.
the
all of it.
upkeep is expensive.
Yeah, the upkeep. Yeah, I mean, for like a normal slider, you're talking about 150 gallons of water that you need just for the one turtle. And if that's not outside, you're talking a fish tank that's like $500, So yeah, they're expensive, that's for sure. So I've been moving to a lot of outdoor setups and getting what I can inside and just been having fun with it, man. There's a lot of more DIY in that realm as well, just because I feel like there's less people keeping turtles. So
Yeah,
Definitely.
and there's also the fact that like a lot of people, like, obviously you can buy a pond, like the plastic,
yeah,
cutout of a pond, but there's not really there's not a company or anybody out there like building enclosures specifically for outside turtles, at least for the most
Right.
part.
Right.
So that's basically like building a pond and then putting a cage around it, and then that's your enclosure. Like,
Yeah,
it's definitely a lot
exactly.
more involved.
I don't know. I think
Exactly.
I'd almost prefer that because then I have sort of the freedom and flexibility to kind of do what I want around it, like position it where I want it in terms of spatial awareness with the rest of it around said
Mhm.
pond, that kind of thing. But what was the
Yeah.
sort of the catalyst for the sudden, I don't know that I necessarily say sudden, but like what spurred the turtle thing to come back?
Yeah, so I've had turtles continuously. I've had an alligator snapping turtle since college. Um, had a yellow slider since college, and a box turtle. But when we were at Daytona last year, man, there were so many turtles there because the shows around here, you don't see turtles, like you don't. No one breeds turtles up here, and if they do, it's very small numbers.
Daytona's got a lot of
Well, I
turtles.
think Daytona is probably, I think it's safe to say Daytona is probably the biggest like chelonian focused show. And that's because Wayne, who puts on the show, is a massive turtle and tortoise guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, some of the California shows might be, compete with it, but I wouldn't say anything's on the same level as that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and you get all the big turtle farms down there,
Yeah,
like Turtle Source and stuff. They're all at that show, and I don't know, dude. That was wild seeing that many turtles in one spot for me. I was like going turtle crazy. So I bought Florida red belly, and then a smooth shot or spiny soft shell while I was down there, and then just went like crazy after that. I was getting all kinds of stuff. So,
Man, you bought a soft shell? I didn't see that.
yeah, man. Yeah,
That's
it was
awesome.
much smaller when I got it. That thing's growing very fast.
Is it one of the ones that'll get really big?
It's not a Florida, but the spinies still get like pretty big,
They all
especially the females.
get big.
Yeah, yeah. It'll probably be 20 to 30 inches long. So,
Oh, dude. So I know this is off topic, but not off topic, but just change direction real quick. The other week when me and Preston went down to see Skylar, we were on the way back and we saw a massive soft shell on the side of the road. Like, dude, I'm talking, this thing was like
supposedly we have them
like
here, but
that
I've
big.
never seen any.
I've never seen them here, no, but this thing was freaking huge, man. So Preston was like, dude, turn around, thing's about to get whacked, because its head was like poking out on the side of the road. So I whipped the truck around and, kind of parked in the road, turned on my hazards, and we just like kind of pushed him a little bit, and we just kind of walked across the road with him, and like stopped traffic and stuff, because this thing was huge. You could tell it was old. Like its skin was real, like it wasn't rough looking, but you could tell it was an old turtle. You know, it was so cool, man.
Thought it was one of those sandpit turtles.
That's awesome. There, you got to be careful with them too, man. Their necks are like longer than the snapping turtle. Like
That's why.
and
Yeah.
their jaws are bad too. Like that's a bad bite for sure.
That's why we were like, yeah, don't really touch it. You know, we're just kind
Yeah.
of very back from the end, kind of. You know, Preston's the one that kind of scooted him. You know, I was watching traffic, but he was like, yeah, dude, don't get anywhere near the sides of this thing. Like, if anything, the very, very back.
Those Floridas are crazy too, man. I mean, they're living with alligators out in the wild, you know. So actually, I've been to Gatorland, and they have in their big like alligator swamp thing that they've got in there. They've got massive soft shells, and there's probably like, I don't know, 400 alligators in the swamp.
Jeez.
You'd think it'd be, you know, toast,
Lunch.
but yeah. But yeah, the soft shells are definitely one of my favorite turtles for sure. I don't know why, they're just weird, and I like weird turtles.
Oh, dude, I love them. They're probably my favorite turtle on the planet, man. Like,
yeah,
they're so cool.
Yeah, they're the poor man's Fly River, man.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to get more like, you know, like some of the ones from Africa and some of the Indian soft shells. But those are expensive for sure. So
probably semi-hard to come by too.
Yeah, super hard to come by. Nobody's really breeding them in the U.S. So I'm sure there are people, but not, you know, on a regular basis. But, yeah, turtles have been the thing. I actually just got 4 new turtles. I got 2 Podocnemus unifilis and then 2 Indian spotted turtles. And I believe they actually came from.
Cool.
Dude, those things are.
Dude.
They're like, I sit down there. That's probably the main thing I watch when I sit down there. Those and my wood turtles. But they're like, I don't know. They're crazy looking, and they're so inquisitive. But those actually came from, I believe, Wayne Hill. So he like produced, I don't know, like 400 of them or something this year, and he's a board member for the TTPG. So he sent them out to Cameron Lamb, and then he, you know, distributed them across the U.S. to TTPG members to sort of get like a captive propagation program going, which is pretty cool because they're both ESA listed animals. So there's no buy-in between states. So yeah, that part of the turtle hobby is definitely like my favorite part, because everyone's, you know, you got the morph stuff in the red-eared sliders. It's kind of like the ball python. That's where the money is, sort of. But then, like, I would say equivalent or maybe even more popular is just like the random species, which is really cool. And everyone's not really in it for the money. They just like turtles, which is pretty cool. So yeah,
that's awesome.
That's been.
Well, give us a quick rundown. You know, obviously we can't think of everything off the cuff, but like, give us, you know, some of the species that you're working with right now.
Yeah, so turtle wise, the 2 species I just talked about. I've got North American wood turtles, which are, dude, they're so cool as well. They're like, there's like some study that says they're the smartest reptile on the planet. They like tap on the ground and like so that it simulates rain so that the earthworms come up. They're so smart. Yeah. Whenever I go to feed them, man, they're like little wolves. Like they'll come out of like they'll be buried and stuff. And as soon as they hear me opening the glass, their enclosure, they're like out of the ground, coming up. Like, what am I going to give them? So they're really cool.
Are those the ones that are native to up north?
Yeah. I think they come down to Virginia, I want to say.
Because we have some species of, what do we have?
We have bog turtles, maybe in South Carolina.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
They're in the same genus.
Okay, so. Yeah, that's definitely what I'm thinking of then.
And spotted turtles as well.
I was about to say, I found one of the coolest herp finds I've ever had was a spotted turtle in the middle of the freaking woods, dude. Like,
that's awesome.
I don't even know, like, I don't know how aquatic they are. I'm not like turtle oriented, you know. So I know wood turtles are mostly terrestrial, aren't they?
They're sort of like amphibious-ish.
Yeah, they spend half the year on land and then half the years like in the water. So like when they're like really eating and mating and stuff like that, that's going to be in the water. I think they might hibernate in the water as well, and then like spring and fall they're out in the like bogs and fields and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
So
No, I was in the woods one day and I looked down, just saw this like black turtle with yellow spots just all over it. And I was like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
You know, like that was honestly one of my favorite finds like ever, you know, herping.
Yeah, I haven't seen one of those. I know they're here, but I've never seen them here.
Yeah, that's the only one I've ever seen.
That's definitely those and diamondback terrapins in terms of native species. And like water turtles, those have got to be it. And then box turtles, I have a soft spot for.
I do too.
Yeah. Do you guys ever found a diamondback? How about you?
I've had people bring them to me. Babies that just hatched.
I tracked them on an island here, so I've seen them in the wild, but I've never herped one.
Gotcha. I saw one in like Myrtle Beach behind like a bar. There was like a boardwalk over the marsh, and I was looking down. I was like, oh my god, there's a baby diamondback terrapin right there.
Mm-hmm.
Diamondback terrapin. I thought you meant no. I've actually found a lot. I thought I was on Eastern Diamondback for whatever reason. Diamondback terrapins. Yeah, I've actually found a lot of those.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I used to. So I worked on a plantation for my college internship, and I did a lot of trapping for armadillos, like around the houses. And there was our main house was right on the water. I used to catch them in my traps all the time.
Really?
I have tons of pictures of diamondback terrapins from just catching them in traps. I had 2 of them in one time, and yeah, I caught them all the time. I loved it, dude, because those are also my favorite. You know, like one of my favorite chelonians. Like they're so freaking cool, man. Yeah, I've never herped one, but I caught them all the time. But
they're definitely some of the prettiest for sure.
Oh yeah, dude. There's a sign on the way to Hunting Island from Buford that says terrapin Xing on it. I want to steal that sign so bad, dude.
I want to say it's like, isn't it like May and June that it says that's when they're
nesting,
most active? But
yeah,
they're awesome, man. That's such an I mean, it's just interesting to me, not only because it's, you know, native to our area down here on the coast, but just the fact that, you know, there's a history behind them, and the fact that they were at one point, you know, almost extinct because they were being eaten by people on a massive scale, and like it's the only species that you're gonna see in or near saltwater, which I think is really interesting. You know, the color of them, the pattern. All the ones that I've seen in captivity were like dogs. You walked up to them. I mean, that's most water turtles, but like you walk up to the tub and they're all just like, oh my god, you know. And they look like so much fun.
I would love to keep them, but I just
space,
can't dedicate the space to them.
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid, I had water turtles, and they were cool and they were fun and all, but God, it was like there was no filter strong enough on the planet to handle more than one turtle per tank. And if I was going to do it now, I'd want to go all out and do something, you know, big and, you know, something they could really use instead of trying to go as economical as possible.
Right.
Yeah. You got to change water. Like I change my water at least once a week. It's a lot of work, man. Yeah. It's just like a fish. It's a lot of work for sure. Because I mean, the same things that affect fish affect them. Like if there's too much ammonia in the water, they're going to start getting fungus and stuff like that on them. So that's probably the hardest part. Not just space, but like keeping up on top of the water is the hardest part about turtles.
So do you do like full changes once a week, or do you do like partial change? Because I know like when I was dealing with fish a little bit, a lot of people would say don't do like a full change, only do a full change every like few months, you know, like, but do like 25 to 50% changes frequently.
I do like 50 to 75%.
Okay.
Like once a week. And then I have a bunch of tubs downstairs that are, they're like the yellow top tubs that you can get at Lowe's.
Yeah.
You know, or Home Depot.
The black ones.
Rugged totes or something, whatever they're called.
Exactly. Yeah. So I have 4 of those, and they're all plumbed together into a drain. And so then that just drains like into my sump. or sump pump, and then I just drain it out. So I just literally turn a valve, and so those are probably getting changed like 90%, but they have a lot less like beneficial bacteria going on just because the filtration isn't the same level as my other setups.
Are there any plants that help with that kind of stuff?
Yeah,
I know like you get like algae balls that people have for like betas and stuff. I don't know if those actually do anything besides look cool.
Yeah. I don't know about those. I keep duckweed, and then there's a couple of like other floating plants that I use. I actually collected that duckweed down in Hilton Head while I was down there. So,
dude, we have duckweed everywhere.
yeah. Now I do too.
Is that literally just collecting it and then putting it in a tub and it just takes off on its own?
Yeah.
That stuff grows like crazy, dude.
I have 4 tubs now with that completely, and then 3 tanks that are there's duckweed completely over the top of that.
Do you just like scoop it out periodically, at least some of it, to kind of control it? Like,
Yeah, my yellowbelly slider will eat duckweed, so I'll just throw it in there with him.
The glitter of aquatic flora.
That's exactly what it is.
If you're trying to keep things like looking nice, it's definitely not the way to go, for sure.
But I think it gives it a really cool look, you know?
Yeah,
I like the look of it because it's not, no, you can't see over the top, but I feel like that helps them because they can, especially sliders, man. That's how you see them all the time. They'll be in the duckweed and just their little heads just like poking up out of it. It's like you can barely see them. All you see is 2 little beady eyes like looking up at you, you know? Like, I think it looks really cool, and I think it's really good for the animals. So,
yeah.
You have any with Kevin?
No, I've tried, man. That tank, I don't know what's going on with it, but plants won't grow in there. I don't know if I don't have enough light or something, but I have like terrestrial plants that I have planters that go into the water and they grow fine, but nothing in the water will stay. So I don't know. I haven't like tried a ton because to, get a starter group of plants in there is like a lot of money. So I've just been throwing like, a little bit in at a time to see if it'll stick, and I don't know where it goes, but it goes away. So
I'd be interested to see if there was any benefit with crocodilians in particular, if duckweed made a difference in terms of their sort of security / confidence / temperament versus having that. Because I would imagine even with like younger stuff, especially, I would think duckweed would help a lot in that department. But
yeah, I wish I could get water hyacinth and water lettuce, but it's illegal in South Carolina. So
really,
yeah, because of like it being potentially invasive. So they,
I didn't think anything was illegal here.
That'd be the only thing they do care about.
Yeah. Which makes sense. I mean, that shit can take over an entire waterway pretty quickly. So
there's some of those plants, and South Carolina is one for some bad plants, man. Like, do y'all get a bunch of Chinese tallow trees up there?
I don't know. I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah, never mind. Yeah, we have Chinese tallow trees everywhere here, and they're really bad. They can drop because they grow near water. They'll drop near a waterway, and they can actually float across a river and then hit land and germinate. Like, it's kind of insane. But anyway, yeah. Back to your list. What do you like?
Yeah,
turtles. We kind of got
Jake derailed us.
I did. You did.
I think I might have. Yeah,
it was all.
No, so I think I said wood turtles, North American wood turtles. So then I've got South American wood turtles too, but that's a different genus. They're Rhinoclemys punctularia. So they're really cool. They're from Guyana, so the goal is going to be to put those in with Kevin because they're from the same area in the wild. So get a little biotope type thing going on there. They're really cool. They're not as switched on as the North American wood turtles, but they're still pretty like aware of what's going on. So that whole genus, I just want like a ton more Rhinoclemys. They're some of my favorite species for sure. And those ornate ones that used to come in all the time, like the imports, they're like some of the prettiest turtles, I think, out there, especially if you get a captive bred baby and raise it up. Their shells are like red and yellow and all kinds of colors. So definitely want some of those. But yeah, I've got a yellow-bellied slider, the soft shell we talked about, the Florida red belly. I've got 2 box turtles right now. One's just my neighbor brought it to me. It's got a swollen, infected eye, so I'm keeping it separate from everything, and I'm just trying to treat the eye and bring it back to where it was. Because we have limits in South Carolina. We've got I think you can own 2 box turtles per person. So trying to stay away from being at the maximum of any limit. So
just quick on that. Is that per person, as in if there's 2 people in your house, you can have 4?
No, I think it's just
is it
2
like
per
more
household.
like a household?
Yeah, it might be per household. Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, I think it's so like in total, it's 10 native turtles per household. You can only have 2 of those being box turtles, and only 2 of those can be diamondback terrapins, and then you can have like up to 10 of everything else. So to a total of 10 turtles. So, but yeah, so the 2 box turtles. The other one that I have is another rescue somebody brought to me. Their dog like chewed on it like a chew toy.
Ooh.
So its whole shell is like destroyed. It can't go back in the wild. I mean, it can't even nearly close up. So that one can't go back in the wild. So she's got a big outdoor pen with me, and she's living out there. So, and then the alligator snapping turtle, and I think that's everything. Oh no, I've got 2 hybrid yellow slider red-eared sliders that I caught at a park near me, and I was like, these can't go back because they're hybrids. So now I have 2 red-eared slider yellow sliders that I didn't really want, but got to keep them. And then I have a common musk turtle as well.
Oh, dude, musk turtles are awesome.
Yeah, dude. I want a ton more musk and mud turtles for sure. That whole complex is one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's funny. The same day I found the spotted, I also caught a mud turtle. It was it was in a ditch that I was walking down, and I just saw this little small turtle just like through the mud. I was like, "What the hell is that?" So I reached in and grabbed him. I was like, "What the hell is this thing?" I had no idea, but I looked it up, and like this was years ago, but it's back when I was in college, and I had no idea those were a thing, and I looked it up. I was like, "Man, these are cool, man." 2 turtles I've never seen before in one day.
Do you know if it was a 3-stripe or just an Eastern mud?
I'm guessing Eastern. It didn't have any stripes.
Okay.
It was, if they have stripes, no, it was not. So I'll send you a picture of it. I have no picture, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just an Eastern mud turtle.
Gotcha. Yeah, down by y'all have the 3 stripes and the Easterns. I really want one of the 3 stripes for sure. They're pretty cool. But,
me and Chaz actually saw one while we were all herping out there. It got away. We couldn't get it, but I assume it was a mud turtle because it was small, and it just
was it muddy?
I mean, it dove into the mud and disappeared. So I'm guessing. But
I saw, I think, like 3 of those of the
really?
Mud turtles while we were out there. Yeah, just in, like over where we found that water snake in the tree.
Yeah, that's where I saw the one.
Yeah.
It was in that spot.
I think they were mud turtles.
That was one of my favorite areas of that trip, dude. That spot was so cool.
That was the weirdest spot. There were so many. Did you see the dead turtles, like all the shells?
Yeah, I saw some of the shells too. Yeah.
We probably saw like 12 dead. I don't know if they were sliders or cooters, but big, like 12, 15-inch turtles that were like just the shells were left. It was weird.
Dude, that place was like Narnia. Like I was walking through it, and there's just this beautiful stream and open grassland trails. Like this
bodies everywhere.
Like fucking Narnia, dude. This is crazy. Such a cool spot.
I wonder if that spot floods. It looked like it did, but I can't imagine.
I bet you with
the water coming through there.
I bet you with a fat rain, it would. If they got some serious rain, it would definitely flood out there.
That was one of my favorite spots for sure.
Oh yeah, I could have stayed in that one area all freaking day, dude, looking for water snakes and anything else.
Do you not have issues with your box turtle digging?
It actually doesn't dig that much, but the area that I have it in, I've got like a sidewalk, like a cement sidewalk, all the way around it, and so then and then my house, it butts up against my house, so I literally just had to put like 2 walls in. And so it would have to dig under like 2 feet of sidewalk in order to get out.
Okay.
So it's pretty, and it doesn't dig very often either. So
My parents had, when we were living in Virginia, this is like circa early 2000s. My parents had a garden in the backyard. They were growing stuff in, and I remember we found some box turtles. So I don't know if it was in the yard or whatever, but I remember putting them in that garden because it was like fenced in with like chicken wire. And I remember it was like constant. Those things were able to like dig their way out, and it was like, there's no keeping these things in here. It doesn't happen. So I won't say always, but if there's any species that's tempted me besides spotteds and diamondbacks, it's been, boxers. And I'm always like, again, if I'm going to do it, I want to give it a lot of space. And I'm like, if I do give it a lot of space, it's going to be outside. And if it's going to be outside, it's going to dig its way out. So,
yeah. I mean, if you go down like 12 inches on your barrier, you're fine on them. It's not like if you got like a Russian tortoise or something, I'd go like 2 feet. But they're. I mean, I know that they do dig. Mine doesn't, but it wouldn't dig past 12 inches.
Right.
So, and especially especially if you get a captive one, the wild ones for sure are much more like, I'm trying to get back to my home range here. I'm trying to get out of here. But the captive ones are much better, especially if they have a space that they're happy with. They're not going to be trying to get out all the time.
Yeah, that's part of the reason for me too, is not really, I don't think I ever will keep them, but like the space thing and knowing how much they move, travel, and just within the last couple months, I found 2 box turtles here right around the corner from the house and stuff, and helped them across the road and stuff. So it's like, it's nice to know that they're there, and like that if I see them periodically, and that's enough. Like I found a little female crossing the road just like the week before last. And I'm glad I did, because I'm sure she would have been nailed if it wasn't passing by. But I helped her across the road, and then took it a step further because there's a really deep ditch on the side that she was going towards. So I hopped across that and just put her on the other side of it and let her do her thing. But it's cool to see those, because that's not a species that you see nearly as much as I think you used to, and it seems like it's getting slimmer and slimmer as time goes by. So
I haven't seen one in a long time, actually. It's been a hot minute. It's always a treat, though, man. I absolutely love finding box turtles. They're so cool.
We found I think 2 of them we found 3. One was dead because it was actually in the lake. So I was assuming that somebody picked this turtle up and then put it in the water because they thought it was a water turtle.
No, man.
Yeah. So that was pretty unfortunate. But we found 2 other ones that were alive, and we were out at Kings Mountain up by me. So that was pretty cool. But I road cruised there the night before, or 2 nights before, and found 2 DORs of box turtles as well. So there's a lot out there, but every time one of those gets hit, man, it's a big loss, especially if it's female. So
yeah,
man, that's what I will never understand, because they did that study with the rubber snakes and the rubber turtles and stuff on roadways to see what people do, and the amount of people that went out of their way to hit the rubber turtles was really disturbing.
Man. What?
Like, why? Like, I don't know anybody that hates turtles enough to where they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna hit it." Like,
dude, I've never met a single person that's like, "Yo, fuck turtles."
Exactly. That's why it's so weird.
I've met
snakes,
plenty of people.
I kind of get. I get it.
I've met plenty of people that are terrified of snakes and frogs. So I've met so many people that are just horrified of both. I've met several people that are terrified of frogs. Never made sense to me, but whatever. But turtles. Nobody just likes turtles, dude. It's not a thing.
No, and that's a big target, especially like I see tons of like cooters and sliders that are hit.
Oh, dude.
And dude, they're massive. Like you could very easily avoid that, I don't understand. I really don't. But we got a lot of rednecks by me, so that's extra points. They're driving, and that's 5 points for them to hit a turtle. So
exactly. Dude, nobody cares. There's some people out there just literally just want to kill shit, and that's it. Like, there's no rhyme or reason for it. I've literally heard a guy say, "I just like killing stuff."
Yeah.
So it was actually a Clemson student, because I just looked it up. It was a Clemson student that did the study. This was in 2012.
Shout out to the Tigers.
Oh, gross.
Losers.
It says initial experiment placed rubber turtles in the middle of a busy street near the Clemson campus in South Carolina and watched as 7 out of 267 cars purposefully crushed the fake turtles in the space of an hour.
Bad look for Clemson.
Said of the 1,000 cars he watched go by, 6% of drivers went out of their way to try and hit the rubber animals, which were stationed safely on the shoulder.
Bad to hear.
It's just odd.
That's really sad, dude.
I mean, 6% out of 1,000.
Not...
I mean, that's not a ton. That's like, what, 60?
Maybe they knew it was rubber.
I don't know.
Maybe they're Gamecock fans for like, fuck Clemson.
What year was that study?
Oh, that's 600. Hold on a second. God, I'm really bad at math. Yeah, that's 60. 60 people out of 1,000. That was 2012, it says, is when this article was posted. Let's see.
Should have been looking out for rubber turtles the whole time I was there.
Like, yeah, let me cop one of these.
Put out rubber turtles no bigger than a saucer.
Saucer.
Where do you even get rubber turtles that big?
The rubber store.
No, it's a Dollar Tree.
I don't even know. I've never actually seen a rubber turtle. Well,
no.
I'm sure, like toys.
A Western Carolina University psychology professor said sometimes humans feel they need to prove they are the dominant species on this planet by taking a 2-ton metal vehicle and squishing a defenseless creature under the tires.
Oh my God. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, turtles are probably the most likable reptile we got. So
They definitely are. Like, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've never met somebody that's like, you know, man, fuck turtles.
Yeah.
Like
that's the other reason I've been getting more turtles too. Is my girlfriend is all in on the turtles. She is all about that. The snakes. She likes to like them, but it's not her cup of tea. That's for sure. So it's much easier to sell a new turtle. So.
Hell yeah, man.
So.
That's awesome.
What about Kevin?
Yeah, she's not a huge fan of him either. Kevin causes a lot of problems as far as like life planning, because especially like after the whole Cobra Kid incident, like you can't own. She lives in Raleigh currently, so you can't own a crocodilian in Raleigh anymore after that whole incident because they banned venomous snakes and crocodilians in that legislation. So. Yeah. So you used to be able to, like, within the city limits of Raleigh, you could own a crocodilian as long as you followed, North Carolina state protocol, but now you can't. So, and that was just due to that whole situation that happened up there. So it's, every year you wait for more regulation and legislation to come through on that stuff. And, just hope it doesn't. But at the same time, I'm not like totally against regulation for that kind of thing, man, because I've spent a ton of money on his enclosure and just caring for him, and there's like constant things that you have to do, and I just don't think that the majority of people are prepared to own an animal like that. Myself included. I definitely, like, I researched a ton, but I was not prepared. I'm good now. I've got it. We're good. But when I got him, it was definitely irresponsible. So I'm glad that I've not. He was never in a bad situation or anything like that, but it definitely was like kind of a rushed choice to do, and
it was more of an undertaking than you expected.
Yeah, exactly. I'm happy that I did it though, man, because he's probably the most rewarding animal I have, and it's just cool. I mean, he's cool as hell, and so. I'm super thankful that I have him and that I have the resources to be able to dedicate to him. I just don't know that everyone should do that.
No, absolutely not. So. But I could definitely see how it kind of affects things, getting a house and stuff like that. Because even having the snakes, like anytime I've looked at a house to rent, I've been like, where am I going to put the snakes?
Yeah.
we have to have 3 bedrooms, you know, like no ifs, ands, or buts. Like it really, I can only imagine having a crocodilian, you know, like that's just,
that's, I had to buy a house. Like I couldn't, I had him during like my last year of college and then my first year of grad school, in a rental house, but he was still small then. So, I mean, even then I had him in a 6x4 foot enclosure. So it was still pretty big, just in my bedroom. But now it'd be impossible to have him in a rental home. You know, you'd have to have, unless you had a big ass garage and the landlord was, you know, fine with you having that. But that's not something you could like hide from a landlord or something, you know? So.
No. I had to tell my landlord I had snakes. She was like, "Do you have any pets?" I was like, because she told me prior to getting this house, she's like, you know, cage pets are fine. You know, we don't care about those. And I was like, word, you know, so I never told her that I had snakes or anything. So then she asked me if I had any pets when we got this place. And I was like, I have, I was like, do caged pets count? You know, and I said it kind of weird. She like gives me the side eye. She's like, what kind of caged pets? And I was like, snakes. She was like, oh, okay, yeah, I was just making sure you weren't talking about tigers or something. Yeah. You know? I was like, God, no. And she's like, yeah, we actually had somebody.
That's your threshold. That's what's
she
weird.
Actually, no, she had somebody that tried to bring a tiger into one of their houses or
something. Dude, South Carolina, like, I believe it.
Yeah, like that ass. And then I was like, yeah, I've got snakes. She's like, okay. Then she paused. She's like, wait, how many snakes? And I was like, I don't really
10,
know. I don't really
15.
I literally was like, I don't really count. You know, I don't keep track. She's like, okay, so a lot. And I was like, yeah, and that was acceptable. So it's like, word. That's all I need. Say less. But
it is nice not knowing that, like, I don't have to worry about a landlord now. It's definitely plus for sure. Yeah, pretty good.
There's no rules when you are the landlord.
That's right.
I'm
the landlord of my domain.
But then you get married and you are no longer the landlord.
Yeah, then you get one, right?
Well, joke's on you guys. If my AC goes out, I don't have to pay for it.
That's true. I just spent $2,500 on gutter repairs, so we're the house.
But you own those gutters.
Those gutters are mine.
It's an investment, okay?
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, man. So, like, what? I guess we kind of touched on it, but like, was the main reason for the switch just kind of like you saw them and you just got obsessed with turtles again? You know, was it Daytona that kind of was like that? Duke?
Yeah, that was the switch for sure. Nice. And just having my room, like being able to set it up now, because it's my essentially my basement, so I don't have to worry about, you know, water spilling or anything like that, because I definitely in high school flooded my bedroom multiple times with turtles and stuff like that. So it's always a big fear of mine. So just having my space downstairs, Daytona really flipped it, but then being able to like kind of build that space out specifically for the turtles.
Then you're like, I'm an adult. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah. Yep. And turtles, man, turtles are cheaper than snakes. I'll tell you what. They're
I thought you just said they were expensive.
Well, they're expensive to set up, but buying them's cheap. So
buying them's cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. So I got you. It's easier to add them once and most of the stuff I've built has been pretty modular. So I've been able to, like the tub system that I have downstairs, I got 4 tubs and I set that all up in one. So I was able to add, you know, multiple turtles into that system. So
nice.
Yeah, it's just been growing on that. I got to hold off for a little bit longer till I get anything else, but definitely that was kind of the blow up. Did we lose Jake?
No. Am I here?
I've only got Smitty, but Smitty's frozen.
Yeah, I've only got Smitty too. His internet must have gone out.
I'm still here.
You're a talking bear die now.
Yeah, I was about to say.
No.
There's just a picture of a bear. I can't see anybody.
Nope,
now
we're
Smitty
back.
is.
I'm
just
wondering. I had to switch to my regular Wi-Fi instead of the hotspot because I was about to run out of mobile hotspot.
This is like when that lawyer turned into a cat. You know,
yeah. A cat.
Dude, it's so weird because like the circle is like throbbing every time you talk. And it's awesome.
Should I get an alligator snapper?
No,
Yes.
you should not.
Yes.
Shut up, Jake. I wasn't asking you.
You're gonna regret it.
No, man.
When it weighs as much as my car? No way.
Right.
They seem like a lot, but he's honestly my easiest turtle. Like I feed him like a snake. I feed him once a week, just some fish, and I occasionally throw some turtle pellets in with him. I feed him clams occasionally. Like he's pretty easy, and I just keep him outside. He doesn't need to bask. There's no lighting required. It's he's gonna get big, but if you've got a spot outside where you can dedicate like a pretty big stock tub to them, they're pretty easy.
So what percentage of your turtles do you keep outside, and do you keep them out year round?
Yeah. So 3. So the 2 box turtles and then the alligator snapper, they're the ones outside right now. I'm gonna build another pond out there pretty soon. For like the soft shell and the slider and stuff like that. They're gonna go out there. But they're out year round. They hibernated out there this year. Actually, during that massive freeze we had around Christmas, the alligator snapping turtle pond had probably 3 inches of ice completely over the top. And he was perfectly fine. So, yeah.
He didn't even care.
No, I mean, yeah, they can breathe, apparently they can breathe through their cloaca. So they just absorb oxygen kind of like a frog does through its skin down there. I'm not.
So they're underwater during this process.
Yeah. And they're taking oxygen out of the water through their butt, which is
that's fucking insane.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So that's how a lot of them, especially the northern turtles, like the Blandings turtles and painted turtles and stuff like that, they need much less oxygen because their heart rate is down and their metabolism rate is down. So all the oxygen that they do need, they're able to absorb through the water for the most part. And so they'll be, fully active underneath the ice.
And the box turtles, do they just bury themselves? Do you have a substrate layer for them to bury under, or what's it look like for them?
Yeah, I added I don't know, 16 wheelbarrows of leaves into her enclosure and just piled that up. And she just dug down and stayed down there until it was warm enough to come out. We had kind of a weird spring. It was warm and then it was really cold again for quite a while. And so it was kind of weird about when she came out, but now she's fully out. So she was kind of like, what the hell is going on? I got to dig back down in my leaves and
So, I imagine that's how snakes naturally feel though, man. Because we had the same thing here. When Chris was here, 3-4 weeks ago, it was 55 degrees out. It was cold. We were out herping in hoodies, and it was what the hell, because it's that's how I feel the snakes are, especially in areas like this. It gets hot for a week. It's cold for the week. It'll be December and we'll get a day in the 80s. And then 2 days later, it's down into the 50s and 40s again, I
will say though, that made the best May of herping I've ever had. Every time I went herping in May, we found tons of stuff our trip. And then we went the weekend after to Kings Mountain. We found a big timber out there.
Nice.
I
remember that picture. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Everything has been out. At least in May when I went herping. I went herping almost every weekend in May, but it was just constant finding stuff. And I don't know if that was because it was so delayed and everything was coming out in May instead of April, but it was very productive for sure.
I have not gone out nearly as much this year, man. It's sad between the 2 jobs and the collection and work. It's just I have not had time, I had to bust my ass for days straight after work and between work to be able to go to Georgia and Florida these 2 trips this year. But I'm hopefully going road cruising tomorrow, but we'll see.
We're going the 2nd, right? Is that still good?
Yeah. Have you talked to Smitty about that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, cool.
message you, right? Yeah. I'm hoping to find some stuff.
Yeah, man. Well, we'll definitely try. That's for sure.
Yeah, it might be hot, but whatever. I was like, I got 1 day away from the family and the girlfriend and everything. I was like, I'm going herping. I'm hitting Jake and Smitty up. We're gonna do it because every time I've tried to go herping down there, it's like I've gone on Hilton Head proper, and I've gone to like, like Sea Pines. They've got like a reservation in there. I found a couple of things.
Do they
in
really?
There, but yeah, it's pretty big actually. I found
That's surprising. I mean, Sea Pines is huge. I didn't realize there was that in there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how big it is, but
I was about to ask, have you been to Pinckney Colony?
Yeah, dude, that's where I saw my first alligator back when I was like 5.
Oh,
we were
really?
on vacation down there. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a ton of gators out there, man.
Yeah.
That place is huge.
It's
massive. Oh my gosh. You want to talk about walking?
Next time. So me and Justin Olsen went a couple weeks ago, man, and it was cool. But now that I see how flat it is, like I'm totally taking a bike next time.
I was gonna say,
I've biked it before. I no longer have a bike, but I've biked it before, and it's pleasant.
I was gonna say, if y'all wanted to go that day, I can bring 3 bikes out with me.
I've got like 2 here, and then my parents have 2 at their house. They have some of the ones with like the bigger tires on them that are better for that kind of stuff. So I'd definitely be down to do that, and I'll see if Justin Olsen's free too, because he lives out there, and he's the one who went with me that first time.
Sweet.
And but since you've been out there, though, we gotta hit up some different spots.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's so much that we didn't get to. Like, I mean, we were out there pretty much all day, but I feel like because we were on foot, we got covered a good bit, but there was still a ton that we just didn't even. There were entire sections we didn't even go down just because it was like go down that or start making our way back to the parking lot, which ended up being like freaking 4 miles away. But
yeah,
it wasn't until we were headed back that I realized how much we had been walking.
Yeah, dude,
I was like, this sucks. I was like,
it's a freaking walk, dude. Especially because like you get out there and you start looking around, walking, whatever. And then you realize how far you've got, and you're like, "Shit, we got to go all the way back."
So you've got the first mile is just that like land bridge or whatever.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like,
yeah.
I took Chris out there, and that was cool. A lot of birds were brooding still, dude. So that was cool. Yeah. Ton of birds brood out there.
Yeah, I've seen a spoonbill out there actually, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I got a spot now where I can see spoonbills like regular.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I love spoonbills, man.
Dude, they're one of my favorite. They are my favorite wading bird, dude. I love spoonbills.
I like wood storks.
Wood storks are sick too.
Those are
just
definitely
like
my top.
Big old dinosaurs.
Yeah, dude, they're so prehistoric looking.
Dude,
we see those a lot here now. They're getting more and more bigger numbers here, and it's really awesome to see.
Yeah, they're sick, man. There's a spot in Sea Pines in that reserve where there's I don't know if it's like a nesting or a rooker. I don't know what it is, but there's like 30 blue herons that live up there. And if you walk through there, it sounds like Jurassic Park, man. They're all just like croaking or doing whatever that sound they make.
Yeah.
And it sounds like dinosaurs. It's weird. It's so weird, but there's got to be like 30 of them up there.
Yeah, dude. We have great blue herons and little blue herons here. And yeah, dude, those great blues are all over the place, man. They're so big. But my God, I've gotten like close to those things, dude. They're like 6 feet tall
as you.
They're taller. Yeah. Some of them are taller than me, dude. They're huge.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Fuck your ostrich. We got blue herons.
Yeah, that's right.
Ours can actually fly.
Yeah.
Losers.
Yeah, we were at so we went to the little cypress wetlands area on Father's Day, and there was a bunch of night herons, which I had never. I was completely unfamiliar with, and then there was a bunch of people there birding, and their cameras with their 4-foot lenses and stuff like that, and I was like, what's that? And they're like, oh, that's a night heron, and those things are cool looking, man. Like that's a badass looking little bird.
Was it the black crowns or the yellow cresteds?
Ooh.
They have black heads, like they were wearing a hat, and kind of gray body.
No.
And they may have been because we have yellow crowned night herons and we have
I think it was yellow.
We have yellow crested night herons and we have black crowned night herons here. And the black crowns are so cool, man. They'll have like these beady, like dark red eyes, man. They're so freaking
Yeah, it wasn't
cool.
the yellows.
Okay, so it was probably the black crown then. They're cool. We have a ton of herons around here, man. Chris was like taking pictures of us and he was like, "Which one is that again?"
Yeah,
I
it was
like,
definitely
"That's
the black crown.
Yeah, I see those quite frequently. Donnelly has all kinds of birds, man. I that's where I see spoonbills, black crowns, great blues, little blues. I see black neck stilts down there. I don't know if y'all know what those are. They look like little Tweety birds, but they're like a miniature. They look like a sandpiper, just like taller, and they're white and black with these like really long necks, and they're cool little birds, man. But,
yeah, I want to go out to Donnelly, like really bad. Sounds awesome.
We'll go for sure.
Yeah, that you've told me that. I think at Daytona you were telling me all about Donnelly, and I was like, that sounds like the place to be down there.
Dude,
So
I love it. I found so much variety.
He'll put you on whatever you want to see.
I never said that. I don't know who the heck assumed that I said that.
You want to see a puff adder? He'll put you on one.
That's right. Whatever you want.
No, I want to go to Pinckney again for sure. And Donnelly, I mean, we haven't only been out there that one time with Jake. I want to go again, and then that little Edisto nature area right there on the Ace Basin. I definitely
really
need
want
to check that out.
Yeah, I really would like to check that out too.
I love Edisto out there, man. Have y'all been out to that Serpentarium at any point recently?
Not recently. It's been
a really long time.
It's been probably 5 or 6 years for me.
Been some time for me too. I wonder what it's looking like these days. But I love it out there. We used to vacation down there all the time, and we haven't
I don't think it's really changed a whole lot.
Yeah, I've been meaning to go out there one of these days just to check it out. See what's going on.
It's a hike.
I just love those pits, man. The snake pits that they've got.
Dude, they seem so like I want to cool, but it seems
I want to go there during feeding day, man.
Yeah. All the black racers in with everything else. Just
black racer. You see black racers in Nerodia just like hanging out, like because the ones they have outside is basically all it is Nerodia and black racers.
Yeah.
And you see this horrified corn snake like cuddled up on the thing, like.
Yeah. I was asking them if they, one of the guys there, I was like, do the black racers ever eat any of the other snakes? They were like, sometimes if we like miss a feeding. I was like, so you don't know. You have no idea.
Yeah, no. Like, they don't keep count of what's in there. They just like, they're outside and catch a snake. They're like, throw it in the pit.
I would love to see that though, because when I remember asking them, like when they did feedings, they literally just take buckets of mice and just chuck it over there. And it's like, I want to go there on the day that they're feeding all the racers and stuff in that one pit and just watch those racers just go nuts. That'd be
racers are fun, man. I've got that little one that I've got. That thing is so much fun. Like you
still have the black racer?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, I didn't know you still had him.
Yeah, he's eating 4 pinks at a time now. So
no shit.
He's fully black. Yeah, I haven't switched him up to fuzzies yet, just because I don't want to give him like too big of a prey item. But because he's like way longer, but his head still seems like it's the same size. So like I don't want to push it on that. But yeah, he's eating 4 pinks at a time. He doesn't miss a meal. So
that's awesome, dude.
That thing is so cool. Yeah, that was at Daytona where I had all those for the 2 brown and Knowles that I had to keep alive in that water bottle. It was like giving them air out when we were out there drinking.
But the black racer.
Yeah, I blended those things up and then coated them on some pinkies, and it was easy, man. It's so easy. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I've always wanted to try to keep those, but never have actually tried. I remember one day, dude, I was a little kid, you know. I don't even remember how old
They
I
just
was.
seem
but
like they'd be more trouble than they're worth.
yeah.
Mine's been easy, man. Like very easy. He's super active, and sometimes like if my door down there kind of sticks, so if I like push open the door really hard, he'll like freak out and be like, "What's going on?" But outside of that, I mean, it's pretty easy. I keep a high percentage UVB bulb on him and a hot basking spot, and all of y'all's episodes and all the other podcasts that Connor Wordle's been doing with the coach whips. I've just been like listening to all of those and just doing everything he's doing. So
Yeah, I think that could transfer really well from coach
Yeah.
to racer.
yeah, but they're pretty cool.
Yeah, I love them, man. They're surprisingly, not surprisingly, but they're what's the word? They're sneakily long. Like, dude, I remember I caught a black racer one day. It was at the same plantation. I was walking around. I was supposed to be hacking Chinese tallow trees, but I was almost done for the day, so I started looking around for snakes. And they had like all these kind of like little ponds, and I got to an area and I heard these frogs like freaking out. Just like you hear them jumping, they're all going crazy, and I was like, something's over there trying to eat them. So I ran over there real quick, and there was black racer right there. I was like, oh shit, she was all over the place trying to catch frogs. So I went down and grabbed her, and dude, I picked her up, and this thing was as long as I was.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, what the hell? It's the biggest black racer I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's freaking nuts, man.
Everyone's thinking they're indigos or something, but it's just like a really fat and long black racer.
I've never seen them fat. I've only ever seen them like super long. They've always been more on the slender side from what I've seen. But that's the second time I've seen them like going after frogs. That was the first time. And then the first snake I found in 2023 was a racer. And it was because I was walking around a job site and I heard a, I was like, what the hell is that? I look over, there's a black racer with a leopard frog halfway in its mouth. This frog still just going like in its mouth. And I was like, oh God, like I feel kind of bad. Yeah. I sat there and watched it, and this thing just froze, dude. Didn't even look at me like in the slightest. It just froze and did not move once it saw me like walking on it near it. And took a video, didn't move. I walked up a little bit and went back, and it was gone. I was like, dang.
I still can't get over those mating black racers that
dude.
Yeah. When I got there and Smitty had found them and I walked up and we probably sat there and watched them for 20 or 30 minutes, and they were
no way.
They were trying to go at it, and then the female was like not in the mood anymore because we kind of cock blocked.
You cock blocked the man.
Yeah, cock blocked the black racers, but they sat there for quite some time, and then I don't know if I probably moved and scared them, and then they shot off, and the male like was on top of the female the entire way, and they were going like. They were fast, man. They were going very fast, and the male was on top of her, still trying to, fuck while they were running. It was craziness. That was one of the wildest things I've seen.
Me and Chaz caught one towards the end of the day when Smitty, you were already gone, but y'all were off.
I couldn't find you guys.
Doing whatever. Lost. Yeah, me and Chaz were hanging out, and we were all we were both in different spots. He's like, snake, and I could tell it was like something not high priority because he wasn't freaking out a lot, so I ran over there and he's like, there's a black racer right there. And I saw like, all right, he goes, you stay here. He's like, I'm going to go around. Okay. I'm going to make a run for it to get him. And if he comes towards you, grab him. I was like, yeah, I got you. So he like went around, and sure enough, dude, it worked exactly as we had planned. He kind of went around it. And he was like doing that slow move and then made the lunge to go get him. And he took off and he came right towards me, dude. I ran over and grabbed him up. It was freaking awesome. I sat there for 10 minutes yelling for you guys because I knew Preston wanted to see a racer. But you never showed up, so we let it go.
I couldn't hear you guys. I was lost. I thought I was dead out there, man.
No,
I was seeing old refrigerators. I was like, yep, that's where the last one went.
Yep. That's how it goes. I've
I
probably
love how
lost.
strategic.
Go ahead.
Okay. No, I was just gonna say I love how strategic Chaz is about catching the snakes. He's
Yeah,
like
man.
planning it out.
Yeah, dude.
I
Got
love
to,
that,
man.
man.
Got to. Yeah, I love Chaz, man. He's cool.
He's a man on a mission.
He
Yes,
is
sir.
always. Everything he does, he's a man on a mission.
I love it.
Love it.
But yeah, that was cool. I've probably lost more black racers in my life than any other snake in existence.
It's been plain belly water snakes for me, man. They're surprisingly fast.
Dude, water snakes are stupid fast, man.
Yeah. You lift up a board, like his. I found most of the plain bellies I've found have been under boards, and they like you lift that thing up and they're shooting out immediately. Like,
Yeah.
I always lose those.
Yeah, that's nuts, man.
Also, I'm a bitch, so I'm like scared of grabbing them. But like, I'm not getting bit by a 4-foot plain belly. That sounds awful.
No,
So.
dude, I've gotten lit up by some water snakes, man. There was one in Florida that this was back when I had just moved back to Beaufort. My buddy hit me up to go to the Tallahassee area, and we were out there and we were just shining ditches, because everything was like it just rained a lot and the water was high in all the ditches. So we're shining the ditch line, and I see this. I'm like far away from everybody, and I see this massive bandit, just going out, into the, away from me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was I couldn't yell for anybody because this thing was about to get away. So I just kind of hopped in the water and grabbed this thing, dude. Yeah, dude, it was 4 foot plus. It was huge. And the weirdest looking bandit I've ever seen. This thing was green and black and just I thought it was an intergrade, but I asked KJ about it and he was like, "No, it's a Florida bandit that you see around here." And, dude, it was huge. It was massive. That thing lit me up, dude. I didn't care though.
Yeah, I don't even like getting bit by my little ones, man. It's obviously it's not a bad bite, but it's still it's scary, man. They strike so much. You're like, oh my god, what's happening?
It's just a natural reaction, man.
Yeah,
just kind of do the flinch. Yeah. Unless you're Chris Montross, then you just don't care.
Yeah,
I remember seeing his when I went out to see him, dude. He was pulling out water snakes for me, and these things are just lighting him up, dude, left and right. He's just like, yeah, he's talking about it, dude, how the heck? Just no. He's like, yeah, you work with water snakes, you get used to it. I'm like, yeah, I guess. More power to you, man.
Yeah.
I've gotten used to it, semi-used to it, working with enough little rat snakes and stuff, man, because they get pretty bitey. But
my little corn is the angriest thing I have. He's fire and hell combined in one, man. He's not as bad as some of the carpets, but he's,
what kind of corn do you have, and how old is he?
It's Extreme Okatee. I got him from Chris.
Oh, nice.
It's I want to say 2022. I got him at Daytona.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, that thing's pretty cool. I just wanted a normal corn snake. I've got a native snake rack wall type thing with all the display enclosures that I'm trying to set up. So I just wanted a normal representation of what we're gonna see in South Carolina. Obviously, extreme is extreme, but it's close enough, and I wanted it to be pretty. So yeah,
man, you got native rack. You hop on some of these yellows, man.
I need yellows, but I want the South Carolina locality, man. I want I want something from, even as ugly as it's gonna be. I want it to be from here.
Yeah,
that Florida garbage.
Yeah, I really need some South Carolina yellows. Everybody's like, "Oh, you don't have any yellows from your area?" I'm like, "No, I'm going to. I'm definitely I want to find I'm trying to decide where I want to get them from, and I kind of want to go for an island locality. I want to go out to St. Helena or something and find some yellows, And I also have access to like private islands that have subdivisions, you know, and I'm gonna pluck a couple out of there. I had an opportunity last year. I don't know why I didn't do it. I found 2 yellow rats on a private island. That's literally you can't go on there. I can because I work for the county and I work out there. And I found 2 of them, and I was like, I should really bag these things up, but I didn't, and I regret it wholeheartedly. But
I've got a whole cage and everything set up for, like, not set up, but I've got a 3 foot by 3 foot, like one of those reptile zoos. That's just empty, just waiting for yellow rat snakes. Like,
yeah,
I've got it prepared and everything. I just need the locality. So
yeah. I think the only South Carolina rat snakes I have are the Spartanburg black rats.
Yeah.
Right now, which dude, those are cool, man. A lot different than the yellows though. They act very different for whatever reason. I don't know why. But
is he praying right now? Oh, I know what he's saying. He was going like this. I was like, I know what he's saying.
What?
Those are the only rat snakes you got?
What do you mean?
South Carolina rat snakes?
Oh, I guess I have the red rats from Smitty.
What? Okay. Please explain this to me. They're corn snakes. I feel Montross has started this thing where now everyone's calling them red rats. Sound like a bunch of hipsters.
Look,
they're effing corn snakes, man.
The way I look at
Serpientes de maíz. Corn snakes.
The way I look at it is if it's locality and a wild type, if it's a locality, it's a red rat. If it's all this mumbo jumbo morph head hippopotamus stuff, that's a corn snake. That's my line.
I've never in my life referred to any corn snake, locality or not, as a red rat snake. Like, sure, it's a rat snake. That's reddish.
It's red. Ain't no reddish
corn
about
snake,
it, son. That's just red.
Not all. No, not. Mm-hmm.
I was at the LA.
Corns.
I was at the LA Zoo when I was a kid, and I remember they had a corn snake out to like pet for people to pet. And me being a nerdy little snake kid, I was like, they also call these a red rat snake. And the zookeeper was like, no, they don't. I was like, okay, they don't. Like, they don't. It's
okay,
a corn snake.
Mind. Sorry. I'll just
sorry.
shut up.
So it's been a corn snake ever since for me.
You want to do my job, kid?
I went for school. It's school for this, damn it.
That's hilarious.
I'm not gonna have some little smart ass come up and tell me what it's called.
My labels for them are even red rat snake.
Oh my gosh.
Now that I've got them on. But why is it wrong? Tell me why it's wrong.
If the zookeeper said so.
It's the same reason. No, it's not. It feels wrong. That's all that matters. It doesn't feel right. It's a corn snake.
Why do they get special privileged names? Corn.
What do you mean?
They don't even look like corn.
Their stomach does. Indian corn.
Is this India? No.
Cornfields. No, not.
I'm just kidding.
Oh my god.
I'm just kidding. Jeez.
Cancel.
I'm gonna start calling yellow rats striped rats. How does
People
that make
call
you feel?
them chicken snakes.
I think they're all Everglades, man.
Oh shit.
Hey.
Watch your mouth.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't matter. They're all the same. So the point is moot. Same snake, just different colors and patterns. That's all.
Exactly. They're all rat snakes. And that one's red.
Taxonomy's fake. No, it's not. Look, you colorblind motherfucker.
Hey, man, I'm colorblind too.
I was gonna say, what do you mean?
If you are colorblind, then how would you even know if they're red or not? Maybe people are just messing with you. We're all in on it. We're just keeping the ruse going. Tell them they're red. They're actually purple.
I'm failing to understand what is
what
not
if I,
red.
Okay.
What is not red about a corn?
Let me
I
put
guess
it
they
to
have
you
other colors, but the base.
Let me put it to you this way. How about this? I'm going to start calling Popwins Hoser's carpets. How does that make you feel? Uncomfortable? Does that make you feel dirty? Like you need to go take a shower?
That's just an insult.
Need a sponge bath?
To the herpetoculture community, man. Like, you know, that's just something you don't do.
Dude, oh my God. Hold on a second.
Red rat is accepted.
Speaking of jokesters, I got that new Bush Viper book. Shout out to JD Lawrence, who went to Ham, picked up 2 copies, and sent me one when he got back to Texas. I'm like the real baller that he is. There is a whole paragraph in this Atheris book on the taxonomy section that talks about how when Hoser tried to pretty much reclassify the entire genus, and he was like, yeah, science doesn't really accept any of this. And I was like,
dude, that's so funny.
I have to find it, take a picture, and send it to you. It's amazing. It's literally like a whole paragraph of him saying, like, yeah, there's this guy who decided to try and rename all this stuff with zero factual basis behind it. And, you know, no one really actually accepts it. But anyways, this group of Atheris.
But anyways. Dude, it's like, so funny.
First time I've seen someone like openly pseudo roast him on paper.
That's awesome.
Like in an official publication.
Like, dude, because he's such a troll. Like, I saw him. I haven't seen him piping. I'm not on Facebook like that anymore, so I don't know. But I saw him pipe up on a Boellen's post. This was years ago now. He piped up on a Boellen's post, and somebody was like, "Oh, Somalia, you know, Boleni, whatever." And he's like, these are actually Somalia hoserensis. Like, I did blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude,
I named it after my left testicle.
Yeah. Like, and that's the other thing. All these things he tries to rename, he renames after himself. I'm like, dude, what kind of fucking... I don't know.
I mean, I agree. At this point, it seems like he just does it because he knows it's going to piss a lot of people off. He doesn't actually have any intention in it sticking. He's just like, hey, let's get him riled up again.
These belong to me now. That's just, but
I had to run to the restroom, but I heard Boleni.
Wow, that was quick.
Yeah, I'm in and out, man.
Now let's go. He's like, I may have dribbled a little bit on my pants, but that's all right.
Smitty, I know you went to the Riverbank Zoo recently. Do they still have the Boleni there, or is that gone?
So no, they do. So I remember in the past, like years and years and years ago, they had it set up, and it's in the same spot that it's always been. But previously they had, I think, at least a pair together.
Yeah.
And this time they only had a single animal. So I don't know if there was a second animal in there. I just didn't see it. But I remember there was a point where they had 3 animals in there, actually. And now there was just the one. So I don't know what the deal was there. But they're doing a lot. There's a big focus on Europlatus there currently, which I think is really cool.
That is cool. Is that whole room that the Boleni are in, is that all the same?
No. So like they renovated basically that entire first section you walk into before it transitions into like the desert sort of atrium type area. And now it's like a wall of native stuff. There's a section with the Europlatus, which is awesome, but they don't have anything labeled. So you don't know which Europlatus you're looking at unless you know what Europlatus are. Which maybe they just haven't gotten around to it. I don't know. It seemed like it's been there a while. I don't know. But they also had this, like the back room area. There's like a glass door so you can kind of see back behind the scenes a little bit, which was kind of cool. I really wanted to go in there, but I think they would have kicked me out. And then they still have sort of the other half of that first walk-in area is like a sort of tropical section that has all the tree monitor species and massive setups, which I thought was really cool. They had a small chondro. They had their not bush vipers, their eyelash vipers, and some other odds and ends, bushmasters, and some other stuff. But
Jeez.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, the setup they have now with the native stuff is really neat. You know, they've got pine snakes in with a couple species of rattlesnake and a nice paludarium, like big paludarium setup for some cottonmouths and
They still have that massive alligator snapper.
yeah.
That's one. There's one time I went in there and there was like a bullfrog or something in this enclosure with the alligator snapper, and I was like, are they feeding it or is it just in there? Because that thing's not going to live very long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you want to talk about? Go ahead.
Yeah. It's all you.
I was gonna say, you talk about a big snapper. You talked about the serpentarium earlier. They had last time I was there, they had like this little walkway over like this water that had some turtles and stuff in it. Dude, they had they had the biggest alligator snapper I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I'm talking this thing was like, its shell alone was like 3-4 feet long, you know, and it was like 2-3 foot wide, you know, just massive. Like I was like, what the fuck is this thing?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. They had it in with like a ton of other turtles too, which was surprising to me because like a good portion of their diet in the wild is other turtles. So
really?
Yeah, man, they're eating like musk turtles and all kinds of stuff. So I was like, okay.
I'm pretty sure it was in with like bigger yellow belly sliders and stuff, you know. So maybe that was the a turtle that size could probably crush one of those things without even freaking thinking about it.
Yeah.
That's
Riverbanks though, man, that zoo it's like, I feel like we're very lucky to have that zoo.
I've never been.
What?
Yeah,
dude, you gotta go.
Yeah, I really want to.
It's a great zoo. The previous director,
I don't know. I maybe went when I was a little kid, but I don't remember it, you know, because my mom brought me to all types of places like that when we were little, you know. So I probably went when I was small, but if I did, I don't remember it.
My child has been twice.
I don't be having time to just drive to Columbia whenever I want, Smitty.
You drive to Florida whenever you want.
No,
if Skylar's there, if Skylar was at the Riverbank Zoo, you'd drop everything and go.
Right. Probably would.
He should be on exhibit in the
if Montross was up there, you'd drop everything and go.
Probably would. Probably would.
But if I was like, hey, Jake, let's go to the zoo, you'd be like, nah, man, I got to work.
You've never once been like, hey, Jake, let's go to the zoo. So you don't know that. If I wasn't
I want to go to the zoo, but I want to find somebody that has the hookup so we can get that
behind the scenes,
that eyes wide shut.
Dude, I would love that. I would go just to go. You plan a weekend to go? Let's go, buddy. Shoot.
I'll meet y'all there.
I'm all about it. Especially if we're gonna meet up with Jack, then I'm definitely down. Come on now,
dude. You got to go see like I think it's an aardvark they got. Those things, you want to talk about a weird ass animal, dude? Those things look like something a 3-year-old drew. Where they're like, draw a picture of a dog. And they draw like whatever this thing was. Is wild.
Like they stacked the pig nose, like the fake pig nose that you get at like Party City or whatever. They stacked it like 400 times on top.
And then they said, let's put it on an anteater.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Those things are weird for sure.
Maybe that's what that was an anteater, not an aardvark. What's the difference?
Anteaters
one's got a skinny one. Yeah. Aardvark is like thick.
Oh, this was not an aardvark. This was definitely an anteater. But it was
freaking
huge, dude.
You don't know the difference between an anteater and an aardvark.
Oh, that's because it was a giant anteater. Of course it was big. It was a giant anteater. It looked like something out of that movie, The Village. Remember you saw The Village, right? That had like the weird creatures that came out. Like this is what those things look like.
It's just crazy that something like that only eats ants, like of that size. You know?
Yeah, they look dumb as hell. I wonder if they bite.
Yo, elephant nose looking ass.
Imagine if you were the one zookeeper that got bit and had a scar from a giant anteater. I'll be getting all the free drinks at the bar, and we're like, dude, I'm the only guy on the planet with a freaking scar from one of these things. I'm missing a finger because of one of those bastards.
He's so badass. We were in Yellowstone like 3 weeks ago, and it was like bear season. Like the bears were out, man. Yeah, we saw like 8 grizzly bears and a black bear. It was nuts. But one of the people we were there with was telling us that like the majority of what they eat is ants. Like when they first come out, they just eat like a shitload of ants.
Bears?
Yeah. And I was like, what? That big ass thing is just eating ants? And yeah, they just like rip up every single log in the area and just find all the ants they can eat. And they're eating like mushrooms and all kinds of stuff like that.
These
too,
things
but
get
They're out there
6
just tripping balls,
to
eating
7
ants.
feet long.
What?
8 feet?
An anteater?
Yeah, dude, these giant anteaters.
That's like
That's horrifying.
that's like Ice Age shit, man.
They
Yeah.
do. I mean, straight up, it's like one of those things that got frozen and then thawed out and was like, "Oh, we're good." There's ants.
Jesus Christ.
The ants don't stand a damn chance.
No, not against that. Not against
Need some of
that.
those.
Imagine
up
if
here
you
for
went
the
to someone's
firing.
house, you were like trick or treating or something, and you rang someone's doorbell, and like their fucking giant anteater came to the door, and the dude completely played it off like it was completely normal. Like, "Oh man, don't worry about him. He's fine. He doesn't bite or nothing."
It's my dog.
Like, holy shit.
I wouldn't put it past.
If I were a
somebody
child and I
else
saw that, I would totally think that I
wouldn't
was
either.
having a stroke or something.
That's freaking insane.
They have those small ones, the
like
small versions. They're also called like tamanduas or something. But they're like a small version of that, and they're like arboreal, so they look like a sloth with an anteater head. They're crazy.
Have you guys ever seen a
Small
capybara up close?
Yeah.
Those things are
I mean,
freaking
B City
insane,
had
dude.
some.
Yeah, that's where I saw. That's what I was gonna ask. Jack, have you ever been to B City in Walterboro?
Have not, no.
So,
Is that the thing that they've got the billboards for, and it's like the tortoise on it or something?
I don't
It's
know.
like a
No,
gopher tortoise
south
on
of
it.
the border.
Oh, I've seen those too. Yeah, I want to go up there. Actually, I've heard like pretty good things about their crocodilian collection up there. So
Their whole reptile house is freakishly legit,
What are you?
Yeah.
considering how
Where are you
illegitimate
talking
the
about?
entire operation is up there.
South of the
south
border?
of the border. Yeah.
Huh. I didn't know they had
Yeah.
like. There's a reptile house thing out
Yeah,
there? or something?
dude.
Yeah,
have,
so
like-
like from the outside, it looks old and disgusting, like the rest of south of the border, and you're like, wow, like you fully go in there thinking this is going to be an absolute dumpster fire of a reptile house, and you walk in, and it is, at least when I first went there, which was 2013. Like their collection is legit. All the setups and cages are legit. Like everything. But you walk in, you're like, what the?
Yeah.
They must have it disguised as old, gross south of the border, so that no one like robs it.
Jeez.
Yeah. I've seen pretty recent videos from there, and it still looks great. Like it looks awesome. All their crocodilians are housed indoors, so it's like this massive like warehouse, and they've just got tons of ponds for crocodiles in there. It's awesome.
No way. So
Need to
is
go,
this
for
like
sure.
a serpentarium type of deal, or like I don't really know like what south of the border is, if I'm being honest. Like I know it's the area south of the border from North Carolina, but like is there like an attraction area right there or something? Or
I've never been, so I don't know what the rest of it looks like, but
Oh, you need to go there. I mean, if you want to get on the sketchiest Ferris wheel you've ever seen in your life,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Well,
We're going to Alligator Adventure for my birthday. My girlfriend's taking me there, and I'm pretty stoked on that. I've been there a couple of times, but it's kind of touristy. But I mean, I think they have like 15 species of crocodilian there, so
wow.
it's pretty cool. They have the biggest Tomistoma I've ever seen in my life. Like that thing's got to be like 16 feet long. It's massive.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Have you been to the alligator farm in St. Augustine?
Dude, not yet. I need to go. Yeah.
Dude, you've never been to the alligator farm?
Nah, man.
You're telling me and talking shit to me about not having been to the Riverbank Zoo, and you ain't ever been to the alligator farm? Shoot.
Well, that's close for y'all, right? That's what, like 2 hours?
Like
Kevin would love the alligator.
Three. It's like 3 to 4.
Kevin would.
to St. Augustine because it's not far.
3.5.
To St. Augustine? It's a little farther than Daytona.
Yeah,
It's
it's
closer.
not. It's like 45 minutes past Jacksonville.
Maybe mixed
Yeah,
it.
it's closer than Daytona is.
Yeah. It's like 7 hours from me or something like that. So I've been trying to plan a trip because I definitely want to go down there. Brendan went after Daytona and he was sending me tons of pictures. And like, honestly, this is going to sound dumb, but I'm most excited to go just see like their filtration because all the way.
Fucking nerd.
Yeah, nerd. Most of their filtration is through like gutter systems just filled with rocks and then plants. And that's how they filter like everything, which is really interesting to me because I'm huge on trying to use as much natural filtration as possible. Like my alligator snapping turtle pond is entirely filtered by rocks and plants. And so, yeah, just trying to see how they do that would be pretty cool. And then seeing, all the species of crocodilian on the planet, of course, too. But
dude,
yeah.
it is a really cool place. It's funny because like they have these massive like ponds just filled with American alligators. And in one of them, there's just this massive freshwater crocodile that lives amongst all these alligators. And I was out there and I was like, what the hell is that? That's not an alligator. It's just this tank of a freaking croc. Just cruising through the water. I'm like, that's fucking awesome, man. It's a cool place. I like seeing all the setup. I love seeing the
I was joking with Katie.
Oh, go ahead, Smitty. Just interrupt me. It's fine.
I was telling Katie if I have like for my funeral, I want them to just take my body and throw it in the giant alligator pit at the alligator and just watch everyone freak out.
Instead of
donate
an
my
organ
body to
donor
science.
Instead of an organ donor thing on your driver's license, it should be a gator donor.
Feed me the gators.
Yeah. I donate nothing of my body.
But you got to do it on a day that they have multiple school field trips.
Yeah, I don't want the park closed down or anything. I want people to witness this.
When I went to
make it an event. Put out flyers.
Bring everybody. Make it a thing.
Yeah.
When I went to Gatorland down in Orlando, they have like a feed the alligator like experience or whatever. And they bring you into like their main alligator swamp. And there's like probably 40 alligators that come up onto this beach and you're like 4 feet from them. There's no barrier or anything like that. And you just get to throw them like chunks of beef. That was one of the greatest experiences of my life, man. I'm telling you. It was so cool. They draw like a line in the sand and I guess they have them trained so well there that they know they can't come past that. And they just stay there with their mouths open and you can just throw them like steak and stuff. It's awesome. It's so cool. And it was like $20. I was like, dude, everybody should do this.
Yeah, $20.
Yeah.
They did that at one of the times I went to the Serpentarium. They were doing an alligator feeding while I was there, and that was pretty cool to watch. Dude was doing that from like a tower though. Like,
yeah, way up.
I was like, okay, pussy. Like,
Steve got in the water. You guys are up here.
Yeah, freaking losers.
Yeah. No, it's always awesome to see him jump though too. Like,
yeah, for sure.
It is really cool to like see how smart they are. Like with the Gatorland, with them knowing that they can't come past that line or whatever. Like, you can just see them thinking. Like, obviously they're not like there's no motion or anything like that. But it's like a loading bar over their head almost. Like you can see like they're like just waiting and like thinking and assessing all the time. It's so interesting. I've been having a lot of fun training Kevin with that kind of stuff, just like target training and like holding and opening his mouth and things like that. I've gotten off track because he doesn't trust me currently because I've had leaks in the pond like consistently. So I've had to manhandle him a couple of times. So we're on a 5 foot basis right now. He's not super happy with me, but
jeez, man, that sucks because I'm sure it's harder to gain trust back, like kind of once it's broken that ever so little bit. It's like one step forward takes forever, but that 100 steps back is,
Yep.
you know, like that. You know, it's nothing to really lose the trust of something that intelligent. You know.
Yeah, and they remember stuff. It's once you lose it, it's definitely hard to get back. But he'll come back for sure because he knows I bring in the food. So it's a work in progress.
Begrudgingly.
But, yeah, it's like, okay, motherfucker, I'll do what you say.
I don't like it, but I know you're the only one that can eat pizza.
Yeah. Oh man, or spaghetti, right?
Don't even. We're not. Nope. We're not going down that.
We can't talk about that.
Nah, I'll get mad. That whole new one today.
My
Did you see their most
nugget
recent one?
of wisdom on that whole thing.
What's that, Justin?
Your nugget of wisdom.
I got a delay.
Yeah. Jake, were you talking about the spaghetti?
People famous?
Yes. We should stop that for sure.
Yeah, no, I was talking about their most recent one today, or at least that I saw it today. Oh, God, dude. It involves feeding a soft-shell turtle a grilled cheese sandwich.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's what gives us cancer, man.
They didn't even use multigrain bread, those animals.
You could at least use wheat. Nah, dude. I was like, no.
You could use boar's head instead of like the Kraft crap.
I can't, man. I literally cannot deal with that type of shit. Yeah.
It's the clicks and the views, man.
That's all it's about.
I think it's starting to mount though. I think a lot of people now are starting to sort of like, okay, it was cute the first time, now it's just getting to be ridiculous. Like everyone they rolled their eyes at first and it's like, whatever, that's really stupid, but it is what it is. And then it just continues to happen. And now I think people are starting to get to the point where like, this is like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a level of privilege that we have to keep these animals. And when people do things like that, it's like, what are we doing here? You know, like you guys are ruining it for everybody and mistreating the animals in the process. So it's really unfortunate.
Like it's not at that point.
That's
like,
the thing.
Go ahead, Smitty.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like at that point, like it's not cute. You know, it's not funny anymore.
No.
You know, like I understand people making, you know, oh, my snake's doing this, it's so adorable, whatever, blah blah. Like, yeah, it's fine. You know, I don't care. But that's not cute. It's not funny. It's not anything. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's abuse.
Yeah, exactly. It's abuse. You know, everybody's, you know, I know we're probably gonna get into the whole, you know, animal abuse thing with the whole Samson deal, you know, but it's like, yes, that's on another level, you know, but like you feeding household items to your animals, like a a grilled cheese sandwich or a freaking slice of pizza. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like that is, like you said, that's animal abuse. It's not cute. It's not funny. It's not worth any clicks. You know, and they're like, oh, once in a while it won't hurt them. Yeah, maybe. Or maybe not.
Maybe it will.
Yeah, you don't know.
You don't know. You have no idea.
You know, because like nobody does that. And there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
You know, like
yeah. I mean the clicks, not the like it looking bad as a whole is, to me, takes a backseat to just the fact, like the complete lack of respect for the animals,
you know,
caring
like
about the well-being of those animals. It's like, yeah, it makes us look like a bunch of idiots, and them in particular. But it's like, if you care about these animals as much as you claim you do, it's like, why would you do shit like that? Like, what's the point?
And you're encouraging
and like realistically, if you're doing it periodically, is it really like long term? Is it going to have any serious health effects? Probably not. But it's the fact that it's like, if you don't care enough to do it repeatedly, like when's does that mean, like, where's that line going to get drawn?
And that's
You're
the
just gonna keep
thing.
doing it?
Like,
So you're gonna keep getting reactions until you do it and an animal dies? Is that? And then once that happens, what, we just keep doing it, or do you finally say, "Oh, wait, this is probably a bad idea. I probably shouldn't do this anymore"?
and that's the thing. Like, yes, in the grand scheme of things, like, is one time gonna hurt? No, probably not. But you're gonna get the people, because that's the thing. Like, the people watching that and laughing aren't people in the reptile community. The people in the reptile community are like, well, I would never do that. That's fucking stupid. But then one of these days, you're going to have a little kid seeing some soft shell eat a freaking grilled cheese sandwich, and they're going to go run, tell they're also, uneducated about reptiles parents, and saying, hey, turtles can eat grilled cheese. That's easy.
Yeah.
We can do that, and then that's going to be a snack for them from then on out, like, because this reputable person does
You're using that term very loosely.
Yeah, that's there were air quotes around there, but like these famous people, in the reptile hobby, that they're doing it, so it's okay. It's like,
But even like we're saying, like maybe it won't hurt them the one time, but dude, if you give your dog the wrong type of dog food, like that thing's got an upset stomach and it's got diarrhea or whatever. The problem about an alligator or a soft-shell turtle or whatever, you can't tell. I mean, it's shitting in the water, so you have no idea what that's doing. So it might have an upset stomach for like 3 days after that, and you have no idea, There's no way to tell,
Like, it's fucking cheese, dude.
Yeah.
There's no
cheese causes me problems, man.
Yeah, like I can't eat a lot of cheese. If I eat a grilled cheese sandwich, I'm gonna be in that bathroom at least 4 times in the day. Like, that's come on now. Like, I know some of these reptiles probably got lactose problems, but no, all joking aside. But that's just I don't know. Like I said, man, it's not cute.
It's just dumb.
It's stupid. It is as stupid as it gets.
Yeah.
Like, that is the dumbest thing I have ever seen from anybody, between the pizza and this freaking grilled cheese sandwich. It's like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen from any reptile keeper, let alone somebody that's supposedly famous.
Yeah.
And supposed to be an influencer for US Arc.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
They do all these like call outs too of like other people, which like I don't necessarily disagree with, but you lose all credibility when you're doing that stuff, and then you're feeding your alligator pizza on the side. Like, you might as well just call yourself out in the videos that you're doing.
It's
stupid.
It's pathetic.
Yeah.
Like, it really is. Like, the things people do for attention, and it's like, you have all the free handlers out there free handling for attention. You know what? You're putting yourself at risk. Do whatever the hell you want. I'd rather you not put it on the internet, but if you want to put yourself at risk, whatever. I'm not going to, I can't tell you what to do. But it's when you put the other animals, it's when you put the animals at risk is when it's like, no.
Yeah.
That needs to stop. Like yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, it's not funny. Like, no click or view or payout. It should be worth that in any capacity.
Nobody's feeding their fish that kind of thing. The fish hobby is not doing that kind of stuff. They're not feeding their stingray pizza or whatever. They just like the stingrays or whatever they're keeping. And it's stupid that in our community we have these animals that are super dangerous or super exciting or whatever, and so people are able to generate views off of them by doing stupid shit with it, like there's
because and the turtle, I think the turtle aspect is a great thing, because like a snake isn't going to go for a slice of pizza. It's just not going to happen. But with the turtles, I guarantee you could break up little pieces of pizza and throw them suckers in there and they eat it right up,
my slider would eat anything, man.
Yeah, but you don't see that.
Yeah.
Like, again, other than with this one in the freaking soft shell, but it's like you don't see that type of thing in communities like that, and you shouldn't see it in any form in any reptile community. Like, it's not good for dogs, dude. People do it all the time, but these things are not dogs.
Yeah.
Like, so many people preach don't feed human food to dogs because it's bad for them. It's bad for us. It's definitely bad for them, and it's definitely bad for reptiles.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
whatever.
Have you guys seen the Samson stuff?
Unfortunately.
Yeah. It's living in my head rent free. It's nightmare fuel,
Dude,
man.
it really is, man. Like, it's always like you can't unsee that stuff, you know. And as shitty as it is to see it, I think it's good for some. Don't ignore it. Is all I'm saying. Like, you know, don't not look at it. Like, this needs to be seen.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's not something that it was real. I don't want to look at it because it's, you know, it is animal abuse. Nobody wants to see it, but, you know, it's one of those things like you need to realize what this guy was doing and we need to do something about it.
Yeah.
And it's the worst animal abuse I've ever seen in my life. You know, like, this is next to dog fighting, which apparently he was also doing.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's disgusting.
Yeah. Seeing an animal, like, one of the pictures was the animal like completely decayed. I think it was a baby retic, and it was just like dust in the enclosure. We've all had animals die.
Yeah.
We've all experienced that kind of thing. You know, I had a corn snake that was probably, I don't know, 30 years old. We was a retired breeder, and we had it for 15 years. Very old snake, and it died while I was on vacation, and I think it was dead for maybe a day or two. And I came back, and literally my house, I've never smelled the worst smell.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine that being a consistent thing and saying, yeah, this is okay. Or anyone like working in that environment and saying, yeah, I can continue doing this, or
you don't go
whatever.
smell blind to that.
No, you could not ever.
No.
Like, unless you're like a necromancer or something, man. Like, that's like disgusting. Like that, the smell is, even it's, you know, just leaving a rat in a cage waiting for something to eat it and coming back the next day and it didn't eat. Like, it's awful. And I can't imagine, like, you have to be mentally insane to allow that to continually happen. Like,
well, that, and to think about how long it had to sit there to get to that point.
Yeah.
Non-existent and just,
dude,
like you said, just this weird blob on some bedding.
Was I the only one that also noticed that in some of the pictures? Granted, like, I only looked through as much as I could take.
I looked through all of it. I looked at all of it.
I didn't, you know, I looked through the majority, but I was like, I can't keep looking at this dude. But did y'all notice how in some of the pictures, like, the snake was long dead and decaying, but there was a quail in there that looked like it hadn't been in there more than a day?
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm like, you're telling me you opened this tub up, dropped in a quail, and closed it? Are you fucking serious? Like, it blows my mind. So that makes me be like, so were you truly just not paying attention to anything?
Yeah.
Like, nothing at all?
I think you can't, like, it's to the point to where you can't even play ignorance on that level.
No,
like, it gets to the point where it's like, you can't even say you just didn't know. I call 1,000% that's horseshit.
Dude, there were some water dishes that still had that much water in it. I'm like, were you still like
you ain't got a blind employee cleaning water bowls. It doesn't know any better. Like, you don't. It's just ridiculous. And so at first, like, you know, the stuff started to pick. Some of the handful of the pictures started coming out, and you know, there's two sides to every story. And I'm not siding with that asshole by any means, but it was one of those things where it's like, okay, how do we not know that these pictures were from, 10 years ago, or it was 5 pictures taken over the span of, 10 years, 7 years, whatever. Not that that makes it any better, but giving him the very brief benefit of the doubt, it was like, maybe someone took these forever ago and they've just held them on their phone until they decided that it was, time to throw some dirt out there. But then,
even still, like,
for sure,
that thing was still in there. Whether it was from 10 years ago or last week, that still happened.
It wasn't until the other flood of pictures and stuff came out that it was like, okay, no, this is this is a pretty sick individual. You cannot tell me you are in this hobby, that you enjoy these animals, that you're passionate about these animals, that you love the species, and have that going on. And it's not even necessarily like the dead animals are one thing, but the animals that were sick and still alive, like how the fuck do you walk in, see that, just shrug it off and be like, well, it needs to eat? Like
some of those retics, their mouths were like this wide open, like they were like so swollen.
Dude, there was one that didn't have a face.
Yeah.
It had no snout, no nothing. It was just opening. Its complete its bottom jaw was non-existent. Like it's sickening.
I want to say that something's gonna come of it, or something's gonna happen, but frankly, I think it's gonna be one of those things where people are outraged for a month, and then something else is gonna come along, and people are gonna get outraged about that, and then we're just gonna move on, and he'll go back to doing what he does, and that's gonna be it. But it's just like, I don't think we've ever seen, to my knowledge, in the hobby or industry, whatever you want to call it, community, dare I say, a level of gross neglect that that like this. Like I can't recall any time that we've seen something like that happen.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
Generally, I'm not for like government involvement in our hobby, and I'm still not, but I feel like we need some level of standards. Like in the EU and the UK, they have like minimum care standards for reptiles, and we don't have that in the US. And so I think it makes it easier for people to get away with things like this. With dogs, there's standards, right? And animal control can come in and like clearly state you're mistreating these animals, but we don't have any of those standards for reptiles. And I don't know that I necessarily want legal standards, but like, we got to have some level of self-control where we've got people coming in and like looking at your facility every so often to be like, well,
yeah. And at the very least, if something like this comes about, that person should be in jail.
Yeah.
Samson should be in jail.
Yeah.
Period. No ifs, ands, or buts, let alone for the snakes. But apparently he's also dog fighting. Like that, and that's the kind of the shitty thing. Like, yes, it's great, the things that the requirements that are put on with having a dog.
Yeah.
I'm not denying that, but the fact that people just like see all these dead snakes and somebody can I don't know. I'm sure most of the people here have listened to the NPR episode that dropped recently. I listened to it today. Great episode, Jack. You should listen to it. It was cool hearing him, and because he was kind of the one that brought everything to light. And the fact that apparently this dude, like, animal control was at his facility, and apparently he sweet talked his way out of it, saying that this is a natural, this just happens, it's part of it. Like,
well, see, there's two things
fact
there.
That anybody could believe that. It's like,
there's the question of, did that actually happen, or did he just say that happened? And then it's the fact of like, I know what our animal control is like because our buddy Will Jordan, who lives around the corner from me, has been dealing with neighbors that have been calling animal control on him because he breeds boas and he's facility is his garage. And I've seen his stuff and everything's fine. Like, there's no issues there. But his HOA does not like the fact that he was breeding snakes in his neighborhood. And so they were calling animal control. And he was having to explain to animal control, everything that you see here is normal.
Yeah.
And animal control, without having any real basis or context, pretty much was like, okay, sure. They don't know that. And I mean, I'm not saying that Will was doing anything wrong, because he wasn't.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I feel like it's pretty easy to tell them, yeah, this is how it's done. This is how we do it.
Yeah,
they're not going to know any better.
But
But
that's
at
Because
the
it's
same
not a
time,
cat or
yes,
a dog.
if you're
if
an
I
animal
saw
control
that many dead animals, I would also be like,
like there's no there's no I don't care if you know reptiles, you don't. It doesn't take an animal expert to be like, something's fucked up here.
Yeah.
You know, something's wrong, you know, and like the snakes aside, this dude had dead cats in tubs.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
not just house cats, like big cats. I saw a picture of a
Yeah.
lynx just curled up in this tub, just dead.
And
You
kinkages.
know? Yeah, like
Yeah.
this is beyond snakes. This isn't reptile abuse or snake abuse. This is animal abuse and neglect.
Yeah.
Like it's not.
that's the problem, is like, how do we weed these types of people out when it's one of those things where it's like new people coming in, unless that's the first thing they're seeing about an individual, they're not going to know any better. And so those types continue and thrive off that first time person who doesn't know any better, that, you know, for whatever reason sees a retic and says, I've never kept snakes before, but that's what I want.
Yeah.
And you know, it's very hard to self-regulate as an industry when you don't have any control over who's coming in the door first in that regard.
Right.
And you know, who's, if in the hypothetical show, how are we stopping that? How is that? There's nothing stopping people from that being the first table, you know, they go to, in a sense.
The most we can do as a community, you know, and I know most shows have banned Samson from vending, except like Repticon, which I will likely never go to a Repticon show ever again solely because of that. But I think the only thing we can do as a community is don't let it die. You know, like keep.
But I mean, see, that's the problem. Like, how are we?
I mean,
we
yeah,
gonna continue to bang that drum forever
yeah,
in perpetuity?
and it won't. I'm not saying the same guy, but I'm saying get it to the point to where, you know, like this, he can't vend most shows. And I guarantee you, like most people in the community have heard about this by now. A lot of people have. I won't say most. A lot have. But, you know, the less publicity he gets from shows, the better. And, you know, yeah, there's still going to be people that probably buy stuff from him because they're unknowing, they're new to the hobby, whatever. But they will likely eventually find out about it. And then, but he also can't make a living off just the first snake somebody buys. He can't.
Yeah.
Nobody can.
Yeah. I think there is room for us to self-regulate, but it has to be through Morph Market and shows doing it themselves. You know, I think Morph Market,
like it's hard to police ourselves. The whole term police ourselves is very difficult.
Yeah.
But like you're saying.
Yeah. So I think like Morph Market's big enough now where if you're selling something, you're selling it on Morph Market, unless you're selling some weird thing on Fauna Classifieds or still selling stuff on King Snake, right? Like majority, and unless you're selling it in person, it's going to be on Morph Market, you know? And I think it's big enough now that, and I think, you know, I don't remember his name, but the guy who owns it now, he's doing a good job of being like, yeah, we're not letting you sell on our website anymore. Granted, that's for Samson, but how many other Samsons are there, and how do we know what's going on there? And I think, you know, I'm professionally an auditor, so I always think about things from an audit perspective. I'm like, you know, Morph Market could be like, yeah, so if you want to be a registered seller on Morph Market, you know, every 2 years you got to undergo like a light audit. And granted, there's costs there that are going to be, you know, paid for by the people who are Morph Market sellers and whoever has accounts and whoever buys through Morph Market. So, you know, that becomes more costly, but maybe paying that cost for us as an industry is worth, you know, weeding out these people. And so then we can have oversight over who's selling on Morph Market. Yeah, and you know, it sucks to be like, yeah, I have to have an auditor come through or whatever, but like if your collection's in good shape, man, like it's not that big a deal, you know?
And see, I think that would be ideal, obviously. But the problem with that is, with something like that, is with every state getting that, you're not going to have the right people in every single position. Like I've talked to plenty of people in Florida who keep venomous, and they're like, dude, my guy sucks. My inspector sucks. You know, he acts like this. He does this. He questions me about everything, about things that are unnecessary. He's very obviously uneducated to do this, and he's just thrown into a position where he has to.
Yeah.
And that would be the problem with something like that, is like not every state is going to have somebody qualified for every single person that's keeping, you know, because we've become a big hobby. Yeah. We're not on the scale, on the grand scheme of things, we are a small hobby, but as far as we go, we have grown a lot. We have, especially in the last like 5-10 years, we have grown exponentially as a hobby. You know, look at Daytona. There's thousands of people that come through there, and it's amazing. But when it comes to something like that, it would make it a lot harder. It would make things a lot more difficult for keepers and breeders, you know. So it's like, where's the middle ground?
Yeah, you know? And I'm definitely not saying like a government person, because I would never want a government person.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. I mean, Morph Market could hire me, man. I'll go out there for, you know, all year just auditing people. I'll do it.
I mean, the governing bodies of any type, be they sort of formal government or a self-regulatory type thing, make me nervous because there's a certain level of, at a point, you know, you get people have subconscious biases, and you know, objectivity only goes so far for some people. You know, you get into kind of, I think, dangerous turf there when you start having a select group of people deciding what's worthy and what isn't, and there has to be sort of some sort of checks and balances type system, which, if there's anything we've learned from our own government, means absolutely nothing anymore. And you get kind of a situation where you have, you know, one or only a handful of people sort of making the rules, and the rules slowly over time bend to the way they prefer to do things, and then it no longer becomes an objective standard. And so that kind of stuff makes me nervous. And I mean, there's hope that the fact that these types, like old Sam there, are the extreme minority of the industry.
And I personally think they are. You know,
I know like it's a fact that they are, because I don't know people that are letting animals die like that, and just
I don't know a single person that does that. You know, so I think he's definitely one of a few. But you know, personally, I think the best thing that could happen, and granted, like this probably will never happen, but us growing as, you know, a hobby as much as we have, you know, I think, you know, like your animal control guys, at the very least, those guys should be educated in reptile keeping to an extent. That way, when something like this comes about, it can be addressed properly. Like, granted, no, it's not the same as dogs, because you can drive by a house and see that a dog is in a tiny, you know, enclosure, and it's, you know, 105 degrees out, and you're whatever, you know, you can see that from a distance. In somebody's reptile room, it has to be reported. But at the very least, you know, some of these animal control people can be educated in that aspect. So when that does come about, they can address it properly. Granted, saying that on a podcast, it's not going to make anything happen. It's likely never going to happen. But like that to me would be the most logical thing to do. Is these government guys working for animal control? You know, like Beaufort County has an animal control, but they only deal with dogs and raccoons.
And I mean, that's like, they're already understaffed and underfunded, so it's not like they're going to have the ability to do that. But it's also, you know, animal abuse and animal neglect isn't solely exclusive to domesticated animals. Like, someone can look at these things and say that's animal neglect. Like, will it invoke the same emotional response that dogs or cats would? Probably not.
No, it definitely won't.
But it would still be, if I were an animal control officer and I walked into a place like Pruitt's and saw it, I'd be like, I would definitely realize that is not, that can't be right?
Exactly.
Maybe
Like
more
if
for that.
if you're in any type of animal control, you know what neglect looks like.
Yeah.
Neglect is very similar from
Yeah.
domesticated animals to reptiles. Neglect is neglect, and you can see it. You know, you may not know the exact body shape of a snake house, you know, something like like a cat-eyed snake, you know, or a dog-tooth snake. Like they're very long, very slender, you know, to somebody's naked eye, you'd say that snake's skinny. No, it's
Right.
not.
Yeah.
You know, but if there's dead snakes
Yeah.
all over the place,
Yeah.
you're
From like a
just
very high level. Yeah.
yes, you're just stupid in that point, in my opinion. You know, you're
Well, I mean,
not.
again,
It's not
there's
that you're
also
uneducated; that you're dumb.
we're not
Like,
getting. I mean, we're also not getting again.
no,
We
we're
don't have
not.
all the
Yeah.
information. We don't have all the details. There's nothing saying that in the time that animal control showed up and
Yeah.
all this happened that Pruitt didn't super clean everything and probably bleach the hell out of stuff to where that's all you were really smelling. I don't know. I mean, that's speculation. I'm not going to.
Yeah, you know, and I honestly didn't think about that
Who
aspect.
knows?
Maybe
It's entirely possible that he
Yeah.
cleaned up enough so that when animal control showed up, he's like, yeah, there's nothing wrong here.
And that's the other thing. And like with the amount of animals he had, you know, they may not have seen all the ones. You know, maybe he just took those tubs and put them at the top and said, nothing's in those. You know, those are empty tubs with, nothing in them. You know, so yeah, there's lots of ways he could have gotten around it. You know,
Yeah.
but
The other side to it is the retic side, and I need to listen to that episode that you were talking about with NPR about the retics. But
I started it today too.
Having that many retics, like no one should have that many. I think they said he had 400 adult female retics. No one should have that many retics. Like barely anybody can keep one retic properly. Barely anybody.
Yeah.
Like no one should have that many retics. I just don't think that. I think that creates a situation, especially when it's driven by money, of neglect. Like I think you're driving yourself towards neglect because it's impossible to give the right care and still make money with that many retics. You know, I need to listen to that episode, but
and I'm gonna kind of echo something that Lucas said in that episode, and I'm not gonna say any one person specifically, but I am ashamed of the retic community. Other than the guys that are truly dedicated to the species and really doing their best with it, they're open about it. I applaud you guys for doing that. But the retic community as a whole has shut their fucking mouths and hasn't said a damn thing about it. And you see everybody else that's in the colubrids, carpet pythons, other aspects of herpetoculture, you know, and they're speaking out. But it's the retic guys that are just not saying a damn thing. Yeah. And it makes me feel like, why? What are you hiding? What are you? How were you involved with this guy that you don't want to tell anybody? You know, like Lucas came out and said, yeah, one of my first retics came from him. You know, like he was he verbatim, he said he was a mentor to me for a short period. And I respect him so much for admitting that. You know, like this dude straight up came out. I was like, yeah, I looked up to him. You know, he was a mentor. But anybody else that's had dealings with him hasn't said a damn word about it. And the retic community as a whole hasn't said much about it. You know, like 90% of the people I've seen talking about this aren't retic people at all. And it's like, y'all are the ones keeping these things. You need to open up. You need to talk about this and say it's not. You know, if you're one of the ones doing it right, you need to speak up.
But that's the thing is
nobody's
like
doing it right.
Yeah, like who's doing it right? If you've got a retic in an 8-foot cage, it's too small, and everybody's got a retic in an 8-foot cage. You know,
exactly. And that's the problem.
That's the problem.
You know, nobody wants to open up and be like, yeah, you know, I don't have a bunch of dead snakes, but I was keeping mine the same way as him. You know, like it drives me insane, man. You know, like some of these guys that are so big into retics are just quiet. It's nothing but crickets, and it's It's disgusting,
Some
man.
of them
Like,
have to out of necessity because they realize if that microscope shifts over to them, they are also in
Exactly.
trouble.
Exactly. You know, and Eric brought up about, you know, in that podcast, he's like, if this happened in the carpet python world, up in arms, dude.
Yeah.
Everybody in the carpets would jump down your throat in a New York minute. You know, but because these are mostly retics and the people out there who are keeping retics, a lot of them aren't doing it right. They don't want the spotlight on them now, you know. They don't want to be looked into, you know, and it's sad, man.
And I mean, on like overall, I don't typically like to bring up stuff like this that's going on, but this is just such a extraordinary case of disgusting, you know. It just figured it was worth chatting about a little bit.
It's definitely, you know, anybody who's listened to us for any period knows we're very non-drama. We don't really deal with that. We kind of steer away from it, you know. I personally don't get caught up in a lot of that, but like this is on a level that the hobby has not seen in a very long time, if ever.
It's beyond drama. It's not.
It's
just
not
abuse. It's just
it's not drama at this point. It's factual. It's not, you know, it's things that have actually happened. You know, like this.
Can we talk about his response for a minute? Did you guys read that?
Was it the 20-page? No, I didn't read all of it. I skimmed through most of it. It just kept going and going and going. I was like, I'm not reading all this shit, dude. There's really the fact that you had to write a Harry Potter level Facebook post about it.
Well, give me the cliff notes because I haven't heard about this. I'm curious.
He like talked about his financial situation, about how that was going down, and about like how no one should take it out on his wife, and how his employees were the reason that this happened. He was like, essentially, like they were the ones who kept feeding dead snakes, and he was like, I had a heater issue that caused this, and this just happens like when you have a large
which one
collection.
is it? Was it a heater issue or was it employees? Can we pick a story and stick with it? Like,
even though the employees are the ones that ratted you out. Like, that's how that went. Like, for sure.
I think there was like 4 paragraphs explaining how one of the employees had a vendetta against him, and they had like a close personal friendship previously or something. I don't know. It was stupid. Regardless,
the whole thing is strange.
Yeah.
Look, man.
It was just excuses.
If you have a big enough collection where you need employees, like, cool. Do you? I don't ever want an employee. You know, maybe one day when I'm old and retired and I'm doing this full time, have some little teenager that wants to learn about snakes. Yeah, come clean up some poop for me, buddy. Thanks. You know, like, whatever. But if you have a big enough operation to have employees, good for you. That's awesome. But if you have too many snakes to not be able to go through every single snake just to check, just to look, you tell me you don't even look at your snakes for months on end, employees or not, you know, like, get out of here, dude. You don't give a single flying shit about those animals,
even if he's not checking every single animal. Like, I would, I think about places like pet stores, like larger scale pet stores, you know, like what Clint does at Metazotics and stuff. Like, I wouldn't, if I were in that position of owning a store like that, like, I would not go through daily and look at every single animal.
No, I'm not saying
I periodically go through and do a random check on various tubs and various sections of different parts of the back room and stuff to kind of get a feel for if everything's getting taken care of properly. Because if I've got, you know, 400 snakes in a room, I'm probably going to go through and look at probably randomly 100 or so of those just to kind of get a feel and get a good idea of if stuff's getting done the way it should be. Like, there's nothing unreasonable about even just checking on a handful of them. Like,
but
what's the baby situation look like? What are the adults looking like? What about my grow outs, holdbacks, all that stuff?
That's kind of what I mean. Like, I'm not saying every single snake every day, but I'm saying like throughout if you do this full time, this is what you do. You deal with snakes. So it's like you're telling me throughout an entire 7-day week, you don't have enough time to go, oh, it looks pretty good. Like that animal looks healthy. You know, like I said, you could do even a 400 snake collection. You could peek in on them. You can do them all in a week pretty freaking easily. Like
that's what I thought was most ironic about his response is the financial situation thing. And it's like, dude, you had zero oversight over your collection. You don't know what's dead and what's alive, and you're trying to plan breeding in pairs. Like, it's hard enough for me to like even plan pairs like I'm nowhere near breeding, but like 2 years in advance from now, and I have like 3 animals that are gonna breed. Like he has zero oversight. It's like, no wonder you're not making any money. You have no idea. You have no clue what you have, what's paired, because you don't even know if it's alive or not.
And I'm sorry, dude, if you want to make a bunch of money, you're in the wrong fucking business.
That's true too.
That's just fact, like you're not gonna, and Lucas brought it up in the podcast he did with NPR. The guys that are making a lot of money off reptiles, a lot of that money's coming from YouTube, Instagram. Guys like Jay and Nerd get a ton of money from social media. Like, I guarantee you, he said it too. Like, if it wasn't for that aspect of things, they wouldn't have the shit that they have.
Or like you've got Kabelka with his ball pythons, and he's making a shit whack of money. But I guarantee you, all that dude is doing is looking at spreadsheets, understanding what he has and trying to pair it. Like, that's a business, and he is so in the details about that. And you gotta be for that kind of thing to make money.
And I'm sure he goes through his snakes a lot. Like, I don't know Kabelka like at all. I don't know the guy, but I know enough to not talk bad about him. Like, he's successful. I haven't heard a single bad thing about him. And anybody that says anything bad is probably just mad because he's a ball python breeder, But like who cares, Like, he puts out quality animals, and he's got quality employees too. And I'm not saying anything about Samson's employees, like I'm not saying anything bad about. I'm sure some employees Samson had were halfway decent. If they got it, they managed to get it out to somebody who would post about it. Like, somebody cared. Somebody obviously gave a shit. It wasn't Samson. But it's
outrageous.
It's outrageous. It's disgusting. It is outrageous. It's pathetic. It's absolutely horrible. And I hope all of his animals get compensated
fairly for their time.
I hope, honestly, like, at this point, I hope the ones that are sick and on their way out just get put out of their misery. That sounds terrible, but half those snakes, like, they're probably not going to survive long term in anybody's care. Like, the ones that are actually decent, which I'm sure there's some, like, get them out of his care and then somebody's.
Well, that's, like, he's vending shows. Like, so he has to have some animals that are healthy enough to actually put on display so he can sit there and blast Def Leppard and all that other bullshit from the giant speakers next to him. Like,
and that's
they couldn't all be horrible.
That's the thing that Repticon said. If he continues to pass inspection, he can continue to vet. Like, what kind of inspections are you doing?
So the Repticon thing, I saw a email response they sent to somebody, and it was basically like, we're not going to make a decision off of more or less hearsay. Like, they basically said if legal entities get involved, that's a different story. So I kind of understand, like, from one standpoint, they can't just take pictures and be like, oh yeah, this is bad. Like,
and but I do get that.
You get enough complaints about somebody, that should also say something.
And that's the thing with it is, like, we're dealing with reptiles.
Yeah.
How often are authorities going to get involved, you know? And can the dude probably bring enough animals to pass the Repticon inspection? Yeah, probably. Because I've seen some ass.
I've never seen anyone
quality
at Repticon
snakes.
go up to a table and say, yeah, that you need to take that off.
No. But I've seen plenty of reptiles at Repticon that I'm like,
yeah,
that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
That's not a healthy animal, you know?
I also just don't get the logic of like waiting until it's a bigger deal, you know,
Yeah.
because then something is going to happen and it's going to be news, and maybe people don't care about, you know, snakes except for us. But, you know, if you have a story about 400 rotting snakes in a facility in South Carolina, like, and they could have stopped this. They could have stopped him vending, shut down his business. He would have gone out of business like way before. But now instead we have this news story that's going out, and all of a sudden, you know, South Carolina legislature is like, hey guys, like, what are we doing down here? Like, why do any of you guys have this? Like, you guys shouldn't have this if this is the normal way, as Samson says, that things happen, you know? And so that's the story that they're getting fed from him, and no one's taking a proactive response. Well, people are. The Repticon's not taking a proactive response to it. And it's like, do you guys want business in the future in South Carolina? Because if you do, like, you should probably be proactive about it, you know?
Because stuff like this is how we're going to get severe laws put on us.
Yeah.
You know, like the three of us are South Carolina natives, and Samson has moved to South Carolina.
Yeah.
You know, like this could be such a huge problem for our state.
Yeah.
Because of one guy.
Yeah. And if they're banning retics, I guarantee you venomous and crocodilians go with it, because that's the package deal. That's how it always goes, right?
Exactly.
That's the whole
I don't
trinity
know.
is big constrictors and venomous and crocodilians.
Still curious if he actually is in South Carolina or not, because someone posted a video of a retic they just got from him a couple days ago, and I paused the video as they were unboxing, like taking the box out of FedEx to open it, and the label still said that it came from Liberty, North Carolina.
Really?
I heard somewhere else that he's in South Carolina now, and I think on the podcast he said something about like he was in the transition of a new facility, and now he's completely moved, supposedly.
Yeah. From what I saw in the Facebook group is that he moved in 2023 to South Carolina. So, but that's all.
I don't. This was just the
hearsay,
16th.
Right? So.
When I paused and looked at the date that label was sent to ship, it was the 16th. So I don't know.
It might be one of those things. He still has some animals in North Carolina, then he's got majority here or something like that, you know. And who knows? Nobody fucking knows.
The two work together, though. It's still the same. Like, you know, when North Carolina does something, South Carolina tends to, you know, be right there. Whether or not they actually do it, you know, we got lucky with the venomous loss a couple of years ago. But, you know, that was all around the time of the Cobra Kid, which happened in North Carolina, you know. So whatever happens in North Carolina's, you know, everyone in South Carolina hears it too. Yeah.
And we've already seen it with the ban on selling native stuff over a certain size, you know, or it even leaving the state over a certain size, you know, and
which it sucks, but it's not that outrageous.
No, and
you know, like, nothing about it that I'm like, man, this is horrible. I gotta go make sure they appeal it. Like,
no,
I understand why they did it. I think it was overkill when you're including a bunch of other stuff outside of what was really the problem, which was turtles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right.
But it could have been way worse. You know,
it could have been
a legal foot in the door. Yes, that's the most concerning part to me. Is like, okay, if they're what's next? Like, what's that next inch that they're going to get? And they continue to gain inches and gain inches and gain inches, and then you know, it just gets worse and worse. But
and I'm not complaining about the laws that are put on. Like, it's going to help with people coming from out of state and just grabbing the nicest corn snakes they can see and taking them elsewhere, you know, like, and I get it, you know, I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying it's the start of something that could be much bigger and much worse. And I'm nowhere near against like people having to go through some type of license. You know, like if I had to go get a license just to keep native colubrids And if that meant I could sell a rat snake over 21 inches, I would do it. In
Yeah.
a heartbeat, like I have no problem with that, whether it be training, whatever. And I fully think people need to go through training for venomous.
Yeah.
Maybe not as extensive as Florida's laws, but I also don't disagree with it. I know it's annoying for good people who want to keep venomous. I know it's hard and it takes a long time, but like having some type of license and training to deal with, these things is not a bad thing. It's the all-out bans that are going to be a problem, and it's guys like Samson that are going to cause those types of issues.
I would feel like so much better if we had a permit system for like crocodilians in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Like there are days I worry all the time. I'm like, are they going to drop the hammer on us? Like, but if I had a permit, I wouldn't really be worried about that. I'm like, good, I'm licensed. Like, things probably aren't going to change.
Right.
And so
but that's the slippery slope of it'll go from 0. You can do and have whatever you want to. You can't have any of it.
Yeah.
Like that's a real easy line to cross.
Yeah.
And
with the native stuff, it's like, for me, I feel like a state has every right to regulate its native wildlife, and so if they want to put in native laws, like that's fine,
Right.
And I think, it's not so restrictive. Like, thank God we don't have Georgia's laws, where they can't even have like a morph corn snake, like they obviously worked with industry because they were like, okay, people are getting these for pets below 21 inches. If you go to PetSmart and you buy a baby corn snake, it's going to be 10 inches or whatever, so they could tell, that we still want people to be able to have these as pets, and we're writing that into the law,
right.
which I kind of appreciated and respect, and definitely understand the turtle law, because man, I don't want like my kids to not be able to see box turtles in the wild.
Exactly.
Like that is the coolest thing. And I want that. And so if this law, the Turtle Survival Alliance is located in South Carolina, and they were heavily involved in making the law. And if they think it's going to be best, I trust them. They're one of the best organizations that I, donate to regularly, and I encourage everybody to. And, they know what's good for turtle conservation. They're at the forefront of all of it. So if they're behind the law, I'm good with it. But obviously that makes things somewhat difficult sometimes, but I'm willing to put up with that kind of thing, so that way the wild stuff is protected. And I think we need more of that in the community, because I think a lot of times we think about what I personally can keep, and I don't want that regulated, but we don't think about like the conservation side of it and protecting what's out there.
Right.
So I'm all for that.
Yeah, man.
Well,
that's a heavy one.
Yeah. Yeah. On that note, Jack, we should probably wrap this up. Where can people find you, contact you if they want to talk some turtles?
Yeah, man. Jack Oliver Reptiles on Instagram. I'm on Facebook too, but it's just my personal page, Jack Oliver. Definitely, my messages are open, so definitely talk turtles with me.
Turtles.
Turtles. I like turtles.
Snapping turtle.
Yeah.
Big old snappers.
Well, once again, this episode was brought to you by BlackBoxCages.com. You want a cage, you want a rack, BlackBox is where it's at. Check them out. You can find all the goods. I got a whole half a wall of racks right here. Got a cage, another cage.
Use the code THN at checkout.
Use code THN.
Save yourself some money.
Save yourself some cash. Be good to go.
Get yourself a rack, get yourself a cage, then head over to stevesnaketuary.com, get the whole lineup of Venom hot sauce. Then after that, head over to fulviusapparel.com, get yourself a shirt or a hat or 20 shirts, and use the code SENDIT. If you live in the US, get free shipping now till the end of the month. I will be putting some new stuff up this weekend, and I haven't been working on many designs lately. I've been busy. Work's been just crazy, so I haven't had a whole lot of brain power by the time I get home to work on more. But no Snakes and Stogies Monday because Phil is moving, so I think we're just going to take the night off. Maybe see if Pain Shab's free. I doubt he is because it's Mondays. He's usually busy, but either way, this has been a good episode. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
We'll see y'all later.
Sir.